Yeah, because I would be in
August
the
12th.
comments and concerns.
Okay. Then my motion stands. I'm sorry for holding up.
Okay. Any further discussion?
The August 12th minutes that were published in the Signal discussion.
Okay, motion by Tim to approve the minutes of August 26th as written. I believe it's seconded by Annie. Is that correct?
Yes.
Those in favor? Okay, that passes.
When is the appropriate time to bring this up for this correction?
What correction are you talking about now? The same
The
one.
one for August 12th.
Has the minutes already been approved?
Yes.
Okay, well, you probably, is that a document that everybody's seen or is it in front of you guys?
I was gonna read this. Do you want me to read it? I mean,
I kind of think it would be faster if somebody could print it out and you guys would say that's the perfect correction if it is. I mean, I don't know what
I read through it.
because you've already approved minutes, you're kind of supposed to do it before you.
Is there anybody here that has not read that email? Annie? Michelle?
I read it all, yeah.
Michelle, have you read that email? Then can we go ahead and make that motion right now to add that?
You guys are all, go get the
We're
votes.
just saying that she's clarifying, right? Like,
Yeah.
she just said she didn't talk to the IRS. She talked to the HR department, right? That was all
Well, did she
I
state
read.
this in the meeting?
She didn't come to the meeting.
She sent this out to them.
She just sent it like
She said
recently.
she contacted Barney Associates,
just
but the other
clarifying.
contact was the IRS. Was not the IRS, it was KDOT Human Resources.
Which I thought we'd said,
I
so
think she was misquoted, or maybe she thinks she was misquoted. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I don't
Okay.
see anything
She
wrong with
said
just
it
simply
didn't-
printing this.
It wasn't a big deal, but she wanted to make the council clear on it.
I mean, if they, that was my only problem was that she wasn't at the meeting saying something that got mistranscribed, right?
I think that's what happened.
You think, but
Yes, you're correct.
she wasn't at the meeting?
She was not at the meeting.
Okay, so what you would do is just say that this is information that was provided to correct something that was stated in the minutes. It's not a correction to the minutes. It's just an additional statement.
So we basically could add that to the meeting minutes for this meeting.
Okay.
It's just not, she wasn't here, she wasn't in the minutes, so it's not in the minutes.
It's just a clarification for those previous minutes.
Yep.
Okay. So we can have that printed out, put in the minutes, so we can move on.
Well, I think you guys have to move to adopt that.
So move. To put Lisa's,
Emails in addition to
correction,
minutes.
I'll second that.
Restate your motion, please, Tim.
to add Lisa's email into our minutes for the clarification of what was stated in August 12th.
To add it to these meeting minutes.
We add it to tonight's meeting.
So we have a clear record.
All right, motion by Tim to add Lisa's comments to tonight's meeting minutes,
Yes.
seconded by Jason. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Passes.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance 1523.
Second.
Motion by Tim to approve appropriation ordinance 1523, seconded by Jason. Any further comments, discussion?
The porta potties are just extra restrooms at the lake. Do we keep those? I mean, do we let them go when the season ends, right? We're not keeping them out there. Okay, just clarifying.
How much does it cost to have one out there?
Well, this is 240. How many do you have now?
3?
3. I can't remember their individual.
Yeah.
2. I was gonna say, I think it's 120. So we have 2 out there. It's 120 a piece or
Yeah.
whatever pay period this is.
Any
The
further-
only reason I ask is we have a lot of workers come out there and they're doing stuff, and a lot of them do stop by and use our bathroom. So if they don't want to use it at somebody's house or whatever. I was just thinking about it the other day. I just wondered how much it cost to continue to have one out there.
Just let them know that after the off season, we're putting in a vending machine to access the toilets.
We
Okay,
put a little coin slot.
yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay, this is a roll call vote for approval. Annie,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Brett,
No, I didn't look at the receipts. Like I said, I was going to before I passed this, so I'm done.
Jason?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1. Okay, at this time, the floor is open for public comments or concerns. Yes, neighbor.
Yes, I've had a dead tree in front of my home for over a year, and it's on city property. I have come to Mike, I've come to Kelly multiple times and asked them to please take it down because it is dead and going to either go into my house or it was going to go in Debbie Van Cleve's trailer that is across the street. And it did not get done last winter, and it did not get done. And I came again this spring and I said, I really would like this cut down before it gets bad weather. Well, we had a lot of straight line winds, not 2 or 3 storms ago. I had a big limb come down, and by the grace of God, it didn't go into my house. So I came again to Kelly and I said, I really need this tree cut down because it's falling down. And nothing happened. So I contacted a gentleman in Osage City, and he was going to charge me between $2,500 and $3,000 to cut the tree down, and couldn't get to me till the 1st of October. And I didn't think the tree would last that long till the 1st of October because of all the storms we were having. So I said something to my son, and he said, we got to get this done before it does damage to property. So he cut it down. He took a day off work and he cut it down, he cleaned it up, and he removed it, all of it. And so the bill that you have in front of you is for his day off of work and for the use of the lumberyard truck to remove it.
They're in the middle of the table because they aren't part of the agenda.
Dean, I'm glad you brought it to the attention of the council, which I know hindsight's always the best thing to do. You can't always get that, but had you come to, would have appreciated if you came to us last year instead of talking to the city crew about it.
Well,
I
mean,
know.
the city crew is who I thought would be the per people to say something to, because they're the ones that were going to remove it.
Sure.
And I thought I had done the right thing. I didn't feel like I had any time left or could afford that. I didn't want them to destroy Bobby and Debbie's camper. It's a brand new camper, just because no one took the time to cut it.
It was really dead.
It was real. You went by.
Shattered.
It was shattered, and it was all over the street, and it was all over everywhere. And Drew spent most of the morning and part of the afternoon cleaning it up and hauling it off and everything. So, like I said, the bill in front of you is and it's not near what I would have had to present to you if I would have had the gentleman from Osage City. So, but anyway, he used the lumberyard truck. He took a day off work and he cleaned it up, trying to help not hurt people's property. So,
What have we done in the past for situations like this?
We did the last one, we did 50%, didn't we?
I know that there has been people that have gotten things cut, and at least 50% has been taken care. It's been taken care of. Yes.
Yeah, you guys have a problem with that? Then I would move that we pay 50% of the $1,100 bill for a total of $550 as a reimbursement.
A second.
Motion by Jason to reimburse Dina Kemp $550 for 50% of the removal of the tree. We're sharing the costs with you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And seconded by Annie. Any further discussion? Okay, the only thing I want to add, and I think Annie's addressed this last time too, for anybody, if you have something on city property that needs to be addressed, come to the council before you take action to do anything, and we might be able to do something for you without having to to extend a
Can
cost.
they have to come to the council meeting, or can they just leave?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you saying that they have to come to a council meeting, or can they leave a request with Kelly to present to the council?
Well, we prefer that they come in and talk to us. Well, I understand. But if you're ill, Dahlia, sometimes you're not up to par to coming here, so we could take a phone call, I suppose. That wouldn't hurt either.
That is not a bad idea.
Okay. And then you'll have to get out, especially if the roads are bad.
I'm not ill, I'm just old.
Okay, motion on the floor. Those in favor? Okay, we'll pay half of it. Tina.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Is there anybody from the audience that has any concerns or public comments that they want to make? Who's
I
that?
can't hear you guys at all back here.
Okay, sorry.
And I've got good hearing, there's nothing wrong with my hearing. So I recommend that you guys get a microphone or something that you sit on the table.
We're in the process of getting something upgraded in here.
That's good, because you just can't hear back here. And I did have something, I had 3 different things I wanted to talk about, but I'm gonna be merciful because you guys got a late start. So I'll just talk to you. I wanna know if you're gonna put anything on the ballot about law enforcement, and the payment of law enforcement with a mill levy or sales tax. Have you had any more further discussion about that?
We had this,
Council,
we
Mayor?
did have discussion, but nothing was approved, and the deadline for getting it on the ballot for this November was September 5th. And we're past that. I called yesterday to double check.
You didn't do anything?
Pardon me?
You didn't
No.
do anything?
The council didn't decide to do anything. That is correct.
Well, I did a little petition with the, not a petition, just a fact finding thing.
That's
That
okay.
I did at the store.
Sure.
And it basically was, 38 people that stopped by. And I just asked the question, would you like law enforcement? They said, yeah. And I said, how would you like to pay for it? And I gave an example of sales tax, mill levy, or a combination of the two. The one that went out was a combination of the two. I didn't know it was September. I thought it was October when that had to be done.
No, 60 days prior.
Otherwise, I would have been here, would have drugged my ass up here sooner.
60 days prior to the election. We'll push forward on the next one. I promise you that.
In the meantime, we have lawlessness in this town. We have people that are picking up things. There are people that are going through breaking into cars. We haven't had any violent crime that I know of, thank goodness. It's just all property stuff. It continues to happen. People come to this community and stay here because they know that we don't have any law enforcement and they feel safe to stay here, sleep in abandoned buildings. Basically pick us dry. We have to make sure, I have cameras all over I have 4 cameras on, well, I have more than that. I have 6 cameras on my property.
Dolly,
That was not cheap. I got cameras on my store. You guys have heard this before, all right? I'm not gonna talk
No,
about it.
all
You've
I was
already
gonna say
screwed up
is-
and not done anything.
all I was
about it.
gonna, all I was
The
gonna
other thing I
say,
wanna know about is the building. Are you doing anything about that IGA building?
That's on the list as well.
Huh?
It's on the list as well. We've actually just recently been talking about some more ways that we can either renovate it or tear it down or something. We're trying to find something to do with it.
You might be able to use that extra money that if it's still around to maybe get a matching grant from the state.
It's actually one of the things we've talked
I
about.
don't think you'll be able to, it's too damaged. That's a nice thought about 5 years ago. But it would make a nice green space or another, if somebody wanted to put a building there, but I don't think they would. Maybe just a green space. Our main street looks like crap. Everybody wants to do everything down at the park. You know, fall festival's gonna all be down at the park. I don't know any, if you're planning on anything up on Main Street. I have a couple of suggestions I might bring to one of your meetings.
Okay.
But when something happens, they all go down to Main Street. Nobody comes up. I mean, they all go down the park. And I'll blame them because it looks like a ghost town up there. Except for the awning and the nice smell that comes out of the cafe. And the other thing this is for Terry. Terry, the sidewalks.
do what?
Sidewalks.
What about
The holes in the sidewalks.
What
You
about
said that, well, the property owners are supposed to be taking care of their buildings and the sidewalk. First thing that was told to me, and the first thing I did with my store was I put sidewalk on there. It's up to the building, people that own the buildings to do the sidewalk. And you said the city was gonna do that. I don't know why you said that. But if the people that own the buildings are supposed to do it, can't you just send them a letter and tell them to get it done? At least that way people won't be tripping through the holes.
Dolly, we can't even get them to clean their building up as it is. sorry.
You've got some ordinances.
We do have the ordinances. We do have the ordinances, and every time we try to enforce one, we get bombarded with the property owners, and the council backs off.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's been going on for years.
I
It hasn't been
know.
going on for 2.5. Been going on for years.
It was going on for years, and we took the time at the end of my administration to put in ordinances so that you could do something about it and enforce it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that ordinance only brought in $100 one time, and nothing was done after that first $100.
Right.
According to the ordinance, there should have been a series of things that happened,
Yes.
and a series of things did not happen. So drop it. Just drop it
That's
for right now.
administration's problem. Don't tell me to drop it. I'm the one that has body of. All right, you should have pride in your community, and you should want it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you
And sell the
100%.
buildings if they, and I think they wanna sell the buildings, but they're probably asking too much. I'm not sure. All right. Next time, let me get on the agenda to talk on the agenda, but I'll stop now because you guys gotta get on with your business. And please pick up, because we can't hear back here.
Anybody else have any comments?
I hear you.
Okay, Clay, department report.
All right, just nice and quick, and then if you want, I can roll into because I've got the two permits there, so I can just do it all at once if that's okay, or I can come back up.
Roll it in.
Roll it in. The so far this month I've got 6 letters out. We'll see. You know, it touches on what you just mentioned, but we'll see. I'll talk real quick on permits, and then if you guys got any questions, but we've got 2 permits. 611 East 2nd Avenue, Cheryl Bass. She was basically expanding the deck on her front of her house. She's basically expanding it to roughly the south. It's there was kind of a dead space there, and she's making it a little bigger, but it doesn't change anything on easements or anything else. It's just a little bigger space, so there's absolutely no factor there whatsoever. The second one, Wyatt Anderson, 403 Maple Street. He's wanting to put in a combination of enclosed and open shed. He bought the vacant property there, and he's replacing there was a shed on there. Snow took it down last winter. No issue with easements. The only concern was there's a gas line meter there, but he's already talked to Mike, and they're gonna move that one or get rid of that one. He's got a second one that he can tie into, so that's what he's gonna do. So any other question there? So again, no factor.
Let's talk about 611 East 2nd first.
Okay.
All right. Questions by the council?
My question is, do we have to have one of these for somebody to add onto their deck? Is this even required? Well, can I? Please do. And this goes back to several months ago, with our question on.
Excuse me, Dolly, I think it'd be easier for you to hear if you weren't talking.
No.
This goes back to our question about, where's the line and what structure and whatever. So, the message that I got and was reiterated a couple of times was every structure. So, whereas my personal opinion, that's probably a little bit of overkill, but it also takes away any ambiguity. There's, again, you guys, you don't have to charge. You can say this is not a factor or whatever, but that at least gets it in front of you, and you have a say in it. So that's the only thing I'd say there.
I move to approve 611 East 2nd Avenue, Bass.
Second.
Okay, motion by Brett to approve 11 East Second Structure Permit Application, seconded by Michelle. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Oh, whoa.
Okay, all right.
You skipped the
I
part.
did. I was jumping right through that.
I don't have any problem approving it, but I don't know she has to pay us $25 for her to work on her deck. I think that's absurd.
So
I think if
Do
it
you
was a
wanna
board
address
for
that?
board replacement, we have not charged.
That's on the dock.
No.
Well, no,
for
we
decks
just did
as
it for a
well.
deck out at the lake.
This is not something on our property. It's her own deck at her own house here in the
This is
city.
true.
so
I still think I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's okay. Per our code, a fee should not be charged for her because the cost of the project is under, what was it, $5,000?
It's
So,
$700.
yes,
Well,
so
there we
no
go.
fee has been collected.
No fee has been collected.
Right.
No
Good.
fee has
Okay.
been collected.
I just saw the 25 up in the corner. That's why I
All
brought
right,
that
I
up.
can mark waves on here. All right. So four voted yes, Tim. What's your vote?
My vote is yes, as long as we're gonna strike that $25 fee.
Yeah, we just
That
did.
does state.
We just did. All right, that one passed 5-0.
All right, I'll leave you alone.
I'll also move to approve 403 Maple
I
Street.
got a question for Wyatt on that. Is this the property directly across the street from where you live?
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'm good with that.
I'll second.
Are we no longer, I'm sorry. I'll wait till you ask me to talk.
Go ahead and talk.
Are we no longer abiding by the 900 square foot limit?
What are you referring
That's
to?
what, well, when I built my barn, I wanted to build much larger. I wanted to build
Actually,
what
he is
was
right.
torn down. I wanted to build the exact same thing that Doc Walker had there, but it had to remain, it had to be only 10 foot high and it had to be 900 square feet, no more. So my building is 900 square feet, actually 899, I think, and 10 foot high.
When you say open shed, is it no roof
No, it's just.
or it's just open one side? Okay, okay.
What's it, the south side? Yep.
It's a good catch.
Round out of two because microphone
Well, what's
was
the,
modified as well.
what's the building code for that?
Because once you get that-
I didn't know that we have
This is
that.
Zoning.
I think that's maybe county because it's not in something I've seen anyway.
And when I came here to plead with the council for wanting to build what the city, I didn't even tear it down. The city tore my building down and they wouldn't let me build the same thing in place. And they claimed they were going by whatever the county code is. If that code has changed, maybe it's Alma's. I think they went by Alma's code.
Well, they wouldn't go by Alma's code, but you guys have incorporated the county zoning.
I do know there is a restriction of the size that it can be.
And
Yeah, that was
Yes,
probably what
correct.
was imported.
if it's changed, I'll definitely be open to whatever the change is. I just don't want us to pass something that we're not supposed to.
Are you aware of any of that information, Wyatt?
I'm not, I'm only told I was, you can come to the city, get a permit, and then there was no restriction on any building built.
So
I'll check with county.
I don't remember
That one's-
building size restrictions on the other stuff.
Are you finding anything, Todd?
Well, I don't have the county code,
the last.
so the only thing I would think of is there's all square footage limitations are usually zoning restriction. They aren't a building code restriction. There's a minimum amount for a residence probably, but that's not.
Yeah, I know we have minimums for residences. I don't think we have a maximum size for buildings because who would build a barn?
Accessory, this is
This is-
accessory structure.
Build a barn outside my house.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How would you build a barn in farm country without being under 900 square feet? I mean, it would be useless. You could,
Well, it could be
a combo.
agricultural versus residential.
And then maybe the case. I will say,
It's all for ag use, foreign farm equipment.
Yeah,
Well, but
I'm
the
afraid it
zoning
doesn't.
in the
It's
city.
where it's at. That's the issue.
I will say,
Spent a lot of time
Not to
putting-
use.
the county, I know with the zoning board makes it a point not to step on city toes.
Other than nothing being there.
Well, but you guys have specifically adopted county zoning as your zoning. So I know that
This
the
question
county
never
will-
gets answered.
the county won't come out and enforce it in the city. You guys have said, we don't have, what, the zoning code in the city is the zoning code of the county.
I don't even know what that says.
So I guess I'm gonna.
Or we just,
We need to table
retract
that,
it and table it.
Yeah.
till we get the information.
Yeah,
So I'll
so-
retract my motion. Do you wanna leave it a second?
I retract my second. Until
And
information.
then I'll
can
move
be-
to put it on the next agenda, which is
23rd.
So it's
September
on the council to
23rd.
find this information? Or when
We're-
we figure it out?
Left.
I'll talk
Officer.
to the county.
I would suggest in your best interest to also investigate it.
Yeah, if you can find something that contradicts what, what I was going by, what I was stating, I built that shed years ago, Wyatt. So there's probably been some alterations to it, and
I was
I'll
always
definitely be
told-
open to that.
I was
So,
always told to see, declined it, the county accepted it, and it was all right. Is that?
Well, what I'm saying is there's county zoning rules that are written down, the county has adopted. The city has adopted those rules. So if the county thing says nothing over 900 square feet as accessory use, then that's the limit. If they don't, then or it says something different, then
I think you can rezone it commercial.
please make sure he's on the next agenda for that.
We got it. Anything else, Clay?
No, I think that gets it.
Have you addressed the grass at the old school? I have been questioned repetitively, again and again, and over.
The, sorry,
Thank you.
you bet. The, yes,
Okay.
the, that was one that was just sent out.
And you also had, last meeting, maybe the meeting before, you mentioned a couple of properties that were acting up again.
So, sorry, go ahead. Did I mean to step on anybody? So rather than say that out, because I look at it, I'm sending them a letter if they comply. I'm trying to be
Okay.
nice, but that's the list of the recent ones right there. And I couldn't remember the one guy's last name, but I got his first name.
Probably won't either.
Oh, it's not here.
So, and Tim, to your point there with the specific grass question, I'll be honest. My bigger concern there is that building's accessible. There's a window and there's a door going downstairs is wide open. So attractive nuisance, certainly. That one was what concerned me. I'll be honest with you. I'm not too worried about the grass, but you literally can walk into that building.
I mean, it's very
I know that our superintendent is not happy with how shaggy the lawn looks.
Yeah. So anyway, it was included, both
He's
of
not
those
the
two
only one
issues.
that's brought it up.
Right. Okay. I would like to see that done, so I wasn't looking at what you're looking at.
All right.
Thank you, Clay.
Anything else? I'll get that back from you if you could. Not this moment, but you can.
Okay, new city business permit office agreement. Julie Bisnet is one and John Walker is another. So Julie,
Water right fast. Can I give this to you?
Good evening. I was just going to, talk to you guys about redoing my contract out there at the lake for early 2025 for running the bait house. I thought I'd get kind of a jump on it, so that way in case I could catch some things that were on clearance sale now, then I could have them ready for next spring. The amount of money that I'm getting out there, I'm fine with. And
Did you have any corrections to it? No.
It's
You didn't
essentially
add, it's the same as last year's.
yes.
just with different dates. It's the same contract.
Yes.
This one doesn't have different dates.
No, that's
This
the
is the
current,
other.
I don't have an updated contract
Yeah,
from her, so
I
I just
figured.
put a copy of
That's fine,
this
thank you.
last one.
So you're just wanting to get a jump amongst.
Yeah, I was just wanting to get a jump start, in case.
So you could buy product
Correct.
earlier at a cheaper price.
Correct. But yeah, I would just leave everything else the same on there.
now, I just want to point out one thing on the current contract. and it says, after the conclusion of the 2024 season and this contract, the city is free to enter a new contractual agreement with the current operator or a new party for the same service. So what happens if someone else comes in and wants to do this after you go out and buy a bunch of stuff for next year?
Well, last year I did the same thing before my contract was up, I believe. And somebody said you didn't have to accept contracts or bids from other people. But
I don't think you, just to clear it, if you enter into this contract with her, if you redate it and the next meeting it comes up and you guys approve the contract, you're locked in and nobody else will have a chance. Unless you guys.
But we don't actively open it up for bids every year.
Yeah, you
We
don't
haven't
have to.
done that the entire 11 years that I've sat here.
Yeah.
Mona did it till she didn't want to do it. Dave did it till he quit. Debbie did it till she quit. And luckily, we got Julie.
Actually, it was open for bids the year she did it, and we had 4 other bids. They just all withdrew that year, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great time.
Well, I'm just saying, if you guys agree to this, you can't then actively pursue other options for that year. You can say, come back in 2026 or whatever.
I'm in favor of opening it up for bid this year.
I am too. I'm sorry, Annie, what did you say?
I'm in favor of opening it up for bid this year.
Did you have any complaints? Or, I mean, we haven't brought any complaints to the council or anything.
I have heard complaints,
Julie
but
has
I'm
brought
not
in
gonna.
$10,000.
I'm sorry, do you want me to answer
I
your
was
question?
continuing talking and you wasn't done talking, so I was continuing.
It's like a string of questions. I can't answer any of them because you keep going.
Are you sure he's your brother and not him?
We're getting along better with this one.
Then that proves my point.
You've got a decade on me almost.
But-
so.
Back to my state is we were in a pickle. And if you remember when we hired Julie, you had left the meeting. Brad was gone from the meeting. Justin was about to leave the meeting, and we had to stop Justin to vote in to get her in because it was 5 days till we opened it. We said we wanted great bookworks, and she has produced 10,000 more each year that she's been there than anybody else has. So I don't see what the problem is with Julie and why this is the time that you're gonna start picking to be opening up bids. Is there complaints or is there?
I have heard
personal-
other
something
complaints,
personal?
but I'm not gonna bring them to the table because I don't think it's prudent. And you can take that how you want. I don't care, because I know you don't like stuff when it's not said to the council or signed. But I also know that there's other interest in running for the bait shop. So I would be interested in entertaining that with other people as well. We typically go for multiple bids for most of the things that we do. Sometimes we decide not to do that. That's fine. I mean, it's not my favorite thing. I think last year we should have opened it up, and the year before. How many years we've been on this, I don't know. But that's my opinion. I feel like I would like to hear from other people as well.
And I also had people come to me with complaints. And I would also like to entertain opening up for other bids.
I would love to know why you didn't bring any of these complaints to the council till this moment right now, and you sat on all of them.
I don't feel it's prudent to slander somebody's character, so I just didn't bring them into council.
Well, we just did a bunch of executive session stuff and withheld information from the public this very meeting.
Let's go off topic again, yeah.
No, I'm just saying that.
I'm
we
not
just
in the
did
wrong
that, and now
in this scenario to ask
We're
for
not wanting
bids.
to do
I
that.
have heard interest in going for it. I don't know why this is continuing. I would be interested. What's your opinion, Tim? I'd like someone else to actually speak.
I like
I
to,
feel that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I sure don't see anything broken in this contract. Have there been 100% happy people with Julie? No. Is there 100% people happy with any situation? No. But for the large majority, people are happy with Julie. I'm happy with the numbers that we see. I mean, from a business standpoint, she's doing this great. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's where I stand.
I'd be happy if you guys would write your complaints down, and then that way I can justify them or.
I showed you my list, Julie. It looked like that.
Jason, your comments?
Mine seems to be the same.
We're still early, right? I mean,
Yeah, technically, the
Yeah, it
contract
is
don't
early.
expire till October
I
31st.
think she was putting this in because she's done it for 2 years in a row, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking for you,
No,
but
that's true.
that she wanted to just get a head start of buying beach towels and a bunch of stuff so that it would be there for that. It'd be cheaper than buying it at the beginning of the season.
She got plenty of time in a month as well. I mean, that's not a concern.
2 more weeks is not gonna make or break Julie, I don't believe. We can give it 2 more weeks
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You also need to take into consideration that the people are gonna have to be completely trained out there, and who's gonna do that? Because none of us here and none of the employees here know that system. Julie's the one that's been in charge of the bait shop, so who's gonna train them? Because
You've got her sitting back here, she knows that system.
I mean, are we gonna talk
Go
to the
ahead,
other
Brett.
person? on
Continue
the-
on, Brett.
Sorry.
well, and here's the thing is when I got up this morning, I had the email that there was a call to be added to the agenda, which we have a deadline for on Friday. And then it was added to the agenda this morning.
That's on my notes. Thank you.
So and then when I called Kelly to ask why that was going to, because she had said in her message to let her know if that was not right. So I gave her my opinion on it. And she had said that the person had talked to a couple council members and they gave their approval for it. So my concern is that if we are opening it up for bids, open it up for bids, but it looks like you're giving somebody preferential
No,
treatment.
I'm
Let me
saying open
finish.
it up for
You're wanting
bids.
to talk. Now let me finish. But obviously, she talked to a couple council members, and this is happening, and it's not even open up for bids to the public. So how does that look to the public when every year the bait shop operator gets the contract again, unless they choose they not want to, and now the council or council members are being talked to and being added to an agenda and leaving out the rest of the public? It just seems wrong.
Can
to
I make
me.
a clarification of what I said? I said that I was told that the person spoke to a couple of council members and the mayor told her to call me and have it put on the agenda. That's how it worked.
Right, and I've talked to the mayor today, but she did say that she talked to 2 council members, correct?
2 council members and the mayor and. the
I
mayor
never
told
got
me to
those
put it on-
names. I only got Terry's name. So
And I
I guess
will-
those
I don't
are 2
know.
receipts.
I didn't
So
get the
fun.
names.
And just,
I'm having the time of my life.
and just for transparency reasons, also, I do believe that I told Mary Jane when she asked if she could put on the agenda that I felt like it should be an open bid for more than anybody that wants to put in for it. That's why I said, come to the council, put in your 2 cents worth, let the council decide. I was not going to make a decision to take Julie's contract or Mary Jane's contract without you guys being aware of it. And I agree that
Neither are we.
personally think that it should be an open bid, should be made available to the public to put in for it.
It's not Mary Jane's contract, it's John Walker, I think that's her dad.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know we had anybody else interested.
And we don't know if
There's
we don't.
somebody else interested. That's why I'm also.
I'm
That's
learning
right.
that.
That's
Sorry,
right.
I guess I should have started. There are other people interested.
That's right. We
And I
don't
would
know
like to
until
open it
we
for
put the
Okay, well, I move that we table this for 2 weeks or till the next meeting.
aren't you gonna talk to that guy? He's here.
Yeah, we do have them on there. Do they need
Yeah.
to?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk to them, but
Okay.
Can that proposal be submitted?
Why not?
I don't see any reason why either one of them
I
can't
will
be
not
submitted, but
I
we're
don't
not
think it should
gonna,
be
we're not
submitted
gonna,
until you
we're not gonna
actively
decide on it
advertise it for
tonight.
everybody else to submit it.
We
to.
can motion tonight to advertise it if you want,
Yes.
and then by the
I
end of
am
October we
offering
can
a
have somebody.
proposal,
Okay.
And it's up to you to take a look at it. Be willing to talk about it, discuss it, whatever.
Okay, and we'll advertise for bids. I think I like Annie's idea, advertise for bids.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll put a deadline on when the bids have to be turned in, and then the council can review the bids and make a
Do what,
decision.
one?
Contract is similar, there are some changes.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Does everybody have one? Do you have an extra? Yeah, I'll take one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bring it down.
Perfect amount.
And Mary Jane would be the, in charge of running. She's already set up the campgrounds previously. She works out there every day. So
She's very
Mr.
familiar
Walker,
with it.
where do you live?
McFarland.
Okay.
I started fishing lake back when Wayne Stevenson
Mhm.
was the operator. He ran some tournaments. The next two guys ran some tournaments. I ran tournaments for 4 or 5 years there, out here, and then stopped. I still fish the lake because I like the lake.
A little history on the bait shop and the lake out there. Can you tell us how many crappie were first put in the lake in the 1930s when they started stocking it?
I have no
I
idea.
just read this.
So would you say 4,500?
It was like 32,000. There were 32,000.
Maybe it's
fish.
4,500
But I
catfish.
can
Yeah,
remember
you know, it
the-
was a mix.
Yeah.
It was all kinds of
I
stuff.
can remember the first smallmouth that was put out in the lake.
Mhm.
Stevenson
And-
did that.
One of the reasons for keeping that I kept the scales out there for a number of years was because I think the state record smallmouth is in the lake.
Well, we shocked the lake. One that was 4 ounces under was pulled out of the water. And I know it was back in there because I released that darn thing.
Now you gotta catch it.
Are you guys gonna set a?
I know where I put it.
There's still some good ones out there.
Yes.
Submissions,
Thank you, Todd. But yes,
we need to set an advertisement for bids and a deadline for submission.
I was gonna say, if we advertise it, it won't be in the paper for till how long?
Wow. Is it Mondays? Is too late now, isn't it?
For this week, it's definitely too late,
So
so it
next
won't
week.
be until the next
Next.
week. Yeah.
Till Monday.
let's make the deadline in October to submit bids, like maybe the 14th of October.
October.
Wow.
Well, we're September 9th now, so the first,
Yep.
I guess you could go to the 7th of October. Well,
Yeah, let's do
I'm
that.
sorry, no, the first meeting
Well, you
would be
want
the 14th.
You want the meeting, you want it to be the
Oh.
meeting. 14th, is that Columbus Day?
Yes,
What's today?
You guys open for that?
why not?
I don't know. Seems like everybody's canceling everything nowadays. Holidays.
It's indigenous people.
Are we paid to not be here for a holiday? Then we can cancel it.
It's the lawyer's
Okay.
day.
All right,
Why not the next meeting?
because it won't get put in the paper in time.
So we're on the 9th now. It won't get in until the 18th, 19th when delivery is, and then they'd only have 3 days to put a bid in. So that's why you have to do October.
But if we
But
make
it's
it,
a
if we
gap
make the
month,
14th the decision, not making 9th, then that's plenty of time to make that
I think
decision
that's-
and give them an opportunity, whoever gets it, to buy whatever product they want before the season starts.
I moved, we are not allowed to table it on the 14th.
You can find future council.
I'm sure Kelly will do the right thing.
I think we can make a decision.
Okay, so
No
did you guys
matter
do that? Do you guys approve that motion?
Yes.
We did.
I don't know.
I didn't hear the motion made.
Move the table till the 14th.
I moved to advertise. That's what you probably need to throw in that. Sorry, I'm cutting your motion
And
off.
advertise. May I finish?
Sorry.
And advertise in the paper for any other respectable people who would like to bid on the contract. And please email the contracts out as soon as you may receive.
Yes.
Because
I don't think it's necessary to email the two we got tonight. You
Correct.
guys. So any new applications, any new bids come in.
And the clerk is free to supply the prior contract to anybody who requires.
Right, yes, absolutely. So they know what to look at.
I
I
got
second, or did you do it already?
I got a copy of you.
You got it.
I second that motion.
Who made the motion?
Tim.
Tim did.
Okay, motion by Tim, seconded by Annie. Tabling to October 14th, where we will make the decision that night on the bait shop operation next season. And with advertisement going in the paper and a deadline to submit the bid is no later than, say, noon on the 14th of October. That gives us a chance in the afternoon before we have our meeting. Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion passes 4-1.
Anybody have any questions?
No,
I may live in McFarland.
We
My
may have
daughter lives
questions
here
on,
in town.
we may have questions on the 14th.
Right,
I want to be
that's
there.
fine.
be a good idea.
That's fine.
Okay. Let's move on. Next up, Mr. and Mrs. Reed, 78 Lakeview Circle. Did you find a business card on your front door today?
No,
Do you ever go in your front door?
no.
I do. I hate to say it, but there's more spider webs on your front door than there is on my front door at my house. So I didn't think that was an appropriate place to put it,
You gotta go around the back.
which I did. I hope you don't mind. Nobody was home.
No, it's fine.
All the doors were locked and the windows were locked, so I couldn't get in. I did go out and take a look at it. Tim, did you? Did you, Jason?
Yes.
Okay, Brett,
I didn't need to. I've already been out there multiple times.
Michelle, have you been out there?
No.
Annie?
I forgot, but I did talk to Jason about it.
So just Jason and I is the only ones that went out there, and Brett's seen it before in the past. Okay, what do you think, Jason?
So it's definitely more structures than just two docks. The sidewalks, because we've got them called out individually, and we allow a path to the lakefront, correct?
One path,
One path with stairs.
4 foot wide.
Correct. So the overall sidewalk going down, I don't have a problem with. It's definitely two patios. The little 3-foot sidewalk that goes to the second patio, I wouldn't say that that's an additional thing.
Why?
It's
Is it an
literally,
additional thing?
I don't think it is.
Continuation, wouldn't you think?
It's a continuation of the patio. It's 3 feet. It's not enough to argue semantics about. My question was the jet ski, the floating jet ski dock, is that within the limits of a normal size dock, a 20 by 24 dock?
No. Wait, what do you mean? Wait,
So you've got a dock here, and got the little jet ski pad off to the side of it.
right.
And that's a small dock,
That's.
but I didn't have a tape measure.
But it's not over
That's
20,
gonna
it's
be
not over
within the 20 by
24.
24.
So it's within the 20
Yes.
20 by 24. So I honestly don't have a problem with that. When I went down and looked, but I didn't have a tape measure.
Retaining wall.
The retaining wall needs to be on there. The railing on top of the retaining wall, we've accepted as part of the retaining wall, so I don't have an issue with the railing. I'm trying to figure out where. I don't remember seeing the survey flags while I was out there, and I may have just missed them. But I'm trying to figure out where the fence from the property ends in relation with the survey.
Probably 12 to 15 feet back. That'd be my guess.
Okay,
From the retaining wall.
from the retaining wall.
Yeah.
So is that about where the gate is?
Probably, that's,
Yeah,
I think,
I
what
mean-
they,
Because
She has
Yeah.
pictures of
Well,
beaver.
I submitted pictures
yeah,
two sets of them, but I'll try to find it again.
But I believe I was out there tonight before I came over here. Right across from the neighbors there, that big tree is where the property was, right there, goes across. So I mean, it's all the city that way, you're right.
okay,
But it's where that round patio is, that's the city's, of course.
Right.
But that's, I don't know what the access is on that lot, because that's not really easy for me to walk this down, 2 more down or something.
right. I had to come down. Oh, where was the
South side.
south side,
Yes.
and then come through theirs, which their gates are closed.
Oh, you went through the neighbor's yard to
Yep.
get to it? I didn't have to.
I went to the next easement
Yeah, see, I know.
South.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
and then came through.
I went through just to the south side of their house. The gate was
Okay.
open. But that's
Yeah,
why.
on the south, yeah. It's
And you have the right as a council member to go out there and through that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't run to the lake or I'd hit my head on that tree that's about 35 off the
I was
ground.
laughing at
So
that.
we
Yes.
need permission to get that cut down.
If we want to cut it out of there, it's kind
I
of.
mean, it's kind of a,
I would ask for permission if I had that property out there. I did think that's just dangerous as can be.
Cut it back or, I mean,
Yeah.
It keeps getting lower year by year.
Yeah.
I can relate.
And Kelly, you said that the property had been paying 2 structure fees.
Right,
Mm.
right, standard dock and an oversized dock, 99% positive.
So they have, currently they have 2 standard docks, not one. 1 oversized dock, 2 patios, a fence,
Is there 2 patios?
and
yeah, they're kind of down to the dock.
the retaining wall.
And the round one.
Are you talking about that little wood? That one right there?
That's all we've got.
on this bit right here.
This, yeah. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see it wrong. What is it? I mean, does anybody ever see anything different than that?
I'm trying to, what was the 7?
2 standard docks, 1 oversized dock, 2 circular patios, a fence, and a retaining wall. It was just 6. I'm sorry.
Okay. Like, how did I get this? So,
What is the third dog?
So you have a boathouse, a concrete dock, and a wooden dock.
I think this is all one.
That's all.
That's all
It's
one.
one piece.
Concrete.
It's
boathouse.
well, this has been there for years.
One assembly. Looking at it, it's all one
It is.
unit. Going down there and looking at it.
Yeah,
Because I'm
there's
assuming
a
that's
door.
the oversize.
I didn't see it as 2. I thought it was 1 also.
I don't like the catwalk.
So one oversized dock and one regular dock.
Yes.
Here's
I
a
see
picture of it.
It's
It's
attached.
neither nor
I'm
that.
sorry I didn't go up there.
Right. That's the oversized dog.
Yeah.
So then that brings it down to a standard dock, an oversized dock.
Yeah.
2 patios, a
Yeah.
fence, and a retaining wall. So that's 5 structures.
But the fence is gonna go away, right?
If it goes away, I will take it down 4 structures.
Yeah, take it away.
I would prefer,
So I guess again, the reasoning, it keeps,
well, the reasoning is
We don't
fences
allow
aren't
it.
allowed on city property. Because they stop, I'm gonna tell you, they stop people from going through a yard, right? If you're going through town and you walk up and people walk by my house to go to the rodeo grounds, right? So it would be awkward if they went in through the gate into my backyard. They don't have any reason to, but it's there to stop people from traveling.
so we have access on each side of the house, 2 gates that they can enter into.
That's what he's saying.
But up towards the front, right?
Yeah.
Right, but the.
Right, but I didn't go through those gates because those are on your private property.
What if you put a gate on the city part from both sides?
Well, and that's what we have right now, is we have a gate on both sides, and there's not supposed to be a gate because now we're restricting access. Because like I said, if you walk up to somebody's property and the gate's closed, you're not walking through their gate because it looks like it's private property now. And if you open somebody's gate and walk into their backyard, you're trespassing on private property. And that's what the gate presents itself as. You are restricting access to city property. We asked the Teichmans to take the gate off or leave it open, and that hasn't happened.
And I think, aren't they the neighbors just to the south of you?
Yes.
In the yellow house, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So we would prefer that there's not a fence on city property because we don't want to restrict access to the lake.
That's my question is, how are they gonna get in there if they don't come through the fence?
Well,
Because it's
They
not
go
a
up.
designated.
they can walk down the easements on either side like I did. I came through the Teichman's fence. I'm going to get that right someday. I came through the Teichman's fence because I know that gate's not supposed to be blocking my access because it's city property. So I came through there. I came down the easement to the south side of their house. I walked through city property and into your backyard, into the city property there through that gate. I know that I have access to that because it's city property. But if we have a visitor out to the lake, somebody who's never been there before, and they go out there and they know that they can walk down to the shoreline and they're supposed to be able to access the lake all the way around. Now we have a gate.
But nobody ever does that.
I know that, but that's the reasoning behind it
The
all.
property's been.
I would disagree with that though. People do do that. It's just that there's scenarios like this one all around the
That's
lake
why you have the
that
beach on
isn't
the other side.
appealing to
And
people.
designated lake access.
But we have the beach on that side for public property too, but that side is also ours, and there's plenty of honey holes, fishing holes that
Who
people
would go
like.
and sit in somebody else's yard?
That's fine.
Because you could get disturbances, like noise disturbances, they could be drinking when they shouldn't.
I think the misconception is that you're calling it your yard. It's not your yard, it's city
No,
Well,
property.
we own the property up to the city yard, and so if they come and access the city, they're gonna be right next to ours, so if they are causing disturbances.
So the only thing, I get this deal, we're on this, so. But the whole fence has to come down, or can we just put it across our property?
Yes.
You can put it across your
You can
property.
do
You can do whatever you
what
want with your
on
property. Absolutely, I'm okay.
How
with
much does it, or would you charge if we kept it up? Because part of it, there's only a portion that's on the city, so we could take that down, because the rest is on.
that. And that's all we're talking about.
But
Just the
then
portion that's on
railing-
city property.
The railing is
That's
also.
what that's.
Now,
what
the railings
wall.
on a retaining wall are
guardrail.
fine. We're okay with those because they're a safety.
Right.
It's a safety concern. So we're okay with a railing on top of a retaining wall to prevent accidents for the most part. But the fence blocking access is the only thing we have a problem with. And
Want to keep some of the fence, we just go to the property line of ours, put it across,
yes, sir,
and we have a gate where we walk in and out if we want to use it.
absolutely.
But we don't get charged for a fence on our yard.
Correct.
How much
Serial.
do we get charged if we kept it?
190.
Okay.
It's what we've charged previously, but we,
Isn't it 195?
Well, not
They're
charged.
like
We
15
get
$195.50.
charged
bucks for that.
You're just now applying that.
kind of against our will.
Yeah.
And we have an agreement that that's only a short-term thing, and it's going to go away eventually. Because in the end, we don't allow fences.
Entering it again.
But you guys realize that that property is decades old, like 5 or 6 decades.
I know.
And
And-
so that, it's part of what has made Lake Wabansie desirable for like the property prices and people wanting to come out there and buy and spend their hard-earned money to have that lake property.
I realized that. I learned actually a whole lot. Actually, your guys' property got me to do a lot more research out at the lake and go out and spend more time at the lake, and it was really beneficial. I learned that when the lake was constructed in like 1922, there was a big government program. They wanted to build lakes for recreation, but they needed locals to find it and then put down $25,000. In 1922, $25,000. So they had
I think you're right, Tim.
a group of local sportsmen and farmers and everybody that were definitely interested in doing this. And they started doing it by selling lots at a lake that didn't exist yet on land that they didn't own yet. So they got investors, but they came up about $11,000 short. They went to the county of Wabansie, and the county told them, we're not putting the money in. They came to the city of Eskridge, and the city of Eskridge put up that $11,000. So from the very beginning of Lake Wabansie,
Good investment.
it was a fabulous investment, but that means that Eskridge has had a controlling interest in that lake the entire time it's been around. And on top of that, even before it was a lake, there were still instances of people getting permission from the city of Eskridge to do things at the lake, permission for buildings being constructed and so on. Of what happens on lake property, city of Eskridge property. Whatever that means, if you one day decide that you don't want lawn chairs on your lawn ever again, you can make that decision and you never have to have lawn chairs on your lawn ever again. At some point in the history of the council, they made a decision that there will not be fences restricting access to city property. Whether that was 60 years ago or 10 years ago is irrelevant. The city owns the property. They made the decision that there will be fences on city property, and we have to enforce that decision. We're working on catching up on enforcement. We don't have the manpower to have somebody look at every house every day. So as they come up in city council, we have an inspector check that house. It makes life easy for everybody. And that's why.
So what, I don't understand why we're being charged for a retaining wall that's been there as well as, because if we tear that down, then there's a problem with the lake. So the erosion and all that. So I don't know why that's our issue to pay. And it's never been, there's not been a charge ever before.
Because the city didn't build it.
Exactly, but it is needed though now.
It is needed
requires
now
The regulatory.
because somebody built it
corporate
and then built
engineers
up
would have an
behind it.
Issue with that coming down.
Well,
do not want that into the lake, so.
And my
Let's get-
stance is if
let's get
somebody
a-
has to take accountability for that retaining wall, and I sure don't want it to be the city of Eskridge having to go out there and we're fixing retaining walls that we didn't put there in the
Well, we didn't
first
put it
place.
there.
The property owners put it there sometime, so they need to
Like
take
60
responsibility
years
for it.
ago, 60
I
years
know,
ago.
but
Here's what.
if it starts crumbling and dilapidating 50 years from
It's
now,
your
the
retaining
new
wall.
property owners are gonna come to us and
It's
want
your
us to
It's
fix
your
it.
retaining wall on your
It's
property.
not, we didn't put there. The city
We
didn't.
didn't either.
Right, but you're buying the property that
I
did,
don't
so
own the
now
city
you're
property.
you're accountable for that.
We didn't
There's
buy
other
any-
people that
Buy the
do
city
that.
property.
Let's get a legal opinion here, please.
About who, okay, well, I mean, the ultimate question is that the use of the property is either, authorized by the city or not. Now, the city can unauthorize the use and it can unauthorize all your uses. You guys have, how many docks? 2, 3?
2 docks, 2 patios.
Well, right now you're in violation because you have too many docks.
We have more than one lot too, though. It's a lot and a half, so it's
You have
a little larger
do they have
than
a
some
home?
of them.
No, just one home,
But it's dock per building, per,
one habitable structure
Habit-
with
But
one
that's
dock.
changed because it hasn't always been that way. We
well,
had,
a lot of
That
this
that
has
is
changed.
correct.
There's
There's a lot of
two
people with
lots
the
and we
shoreline
had
that
two
wanted
built
to
around
be
it.
greedy and block second tier people from building docks, which is why a lot of people have multiple docks out there because it was they were wanting to restrict people being close to their docks. I think that's something lost in all of this. Why there is so many there is somebody's like, let me build 4 docks and then nobody can have a spot in front of my house. And that's kind of exactly what happened.
Well, I don't
And
know
we've
that-
changed that. Now only you get 1 dock per habitable structure, but we actually have a moratorium, so there's no active
So
building
after
docks.
you have to
currently.
dogs, that you guys can take them away. if you want.
We could take them away if we wanted
And we
to.
could take away everything that's on our property on your, that
The
you
2
have.
docks is the only thing that's grandfathered in, just to be
And
clear.
it's not grandfathered in. It's an allowance that the city has. They don't have any grandfather rights. And
Well, just because they
city
have.
Well, for
yeah,
one dog.
well, it's a grant.
Right.
Right.
How about this way? Everything that you have on city property is a gracious gift from these people right here in the city. So if we say, don't laugh.
I'm laughing because I don't think you know the value of Lake Wabansie property. So you guys didn't put that money forward. We will take care of your property.
I think the value of your home is immaterial. The people that live out there is the one who's created the value of that property by
Exactly.
improving it over the years.
Exactly.
So,
But it doesn't take away from the fact that the shoreline belongs to the city.
And everybody's in agreement with that.
And except you don't want to pay for your stuff that's on the city property.
Well, nobody's paid for it for 60 years.
That's true. And I think Jason did a good job of explaining why that happened.
How much does the wall cost a year?
The same, everything is the same, so you're 190.
For
195.
195.
Stop,
Per dog,
stop
per
giving
wall,
them a
per-
low amount.
Except for oversized
We'll
dogs.
be mad
What's
at
the
us
oversized
later.
dog?
I believe it's
Extra
235, I want to say.
It's not worth it. $190.
No, they have, well, Brett had said 7, he took it down to 6, and I think.
Now it's down to 5.
Now down
So
to
if the
5.
fence is gone, that's down to 4. Right? Yes.
Well,
Two
I
docks.
didn't.
No, it's at 5. 2 docks, 2 patios, and the retaining wall.
So that patio that goes down the stairs to access it, we pay for that sidewalk.
That sidewalk is covered.
Okay, so that little patio, the in front of that
Or-
sidewalk,
or-
because there's a round one, so I knew that was gonna be. So
That's all I think of the round
what's
one.
the other patio, the little one?
So there's a little patio off the side and then the patio in the middle of the path down.
There's a patch, where's the patio?
Here, I think it's,
By the tree or something? The
it's
fallen down
this,
tree?
is this what you're saying?
Would it help if you look at the
That's
drawing?
one that they're-
I can't even see it.
Another one, Brett? Is that what you're?
So that's
saying?
standing on the one that's basically in the middle of the path, right?
That,
Yeah,
you can't
that's-
really, you can't put anything there, because then you can't walk on the path.
So we have rules on how big the path is allowed to be. So with the big round thing in the middle of the
I
path,
agree
it
that
becomes a
one.
patio.
That brown one that's separate from the walkway.
Yeah, the little round one is the separate, is the second one, but
But
the,
if it's a sidewalk and it's wider than the 4 feet maximum, then it's considered another
So the one
structure.
side of the round one's a patio?
Yes. The one
Yes.
that's not in the yard.
The one that's part of the sidewalk going down.
If it's wider than 4 feet.
So we can cut it down to.
Yes.
4
Yes,
feet.
Absolutely. You can adjust
Because
all
it
this
needs
as
help
well,
anyway,
and then
so-
let us know.
Yeah, I'll just take, I mean, it's not that big a
We
deal.
can just, I think,
And we're always amenable to that.
I'm okay with the docks, the wall, whatever, but the patios, I'll figure out some way to make them.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I'm okay with the fence. If you don't charge for it, I don't care.
we want.
I'm not gonna charge anything on your land.
I
It's
know
all
what
your
I'm
land.
saying. We'll take that out. I don't really care.
I appreciate it.
I don't want to argue about it. I just want to get it over with.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's get it agreed.
There's always the,
I just want to get charged for a bunch of stuff that's
Well, now we're.
nothing to me. I
Well,
mean,
and you're not gonna be the
I'd rather
last one
try
in
to
front
pay
of
it off,
us.
pay
and
for
this-
100.
You're not the first one, and it's gonna continue happening, and it's
I mean, we
just
don't probably never set
the
around.
nature of the beast at this point.
We'll probably never set around back there. We'll probably always be down the back. So it's kind of useless.
So we can't get rid of everything.
No, I'm saying the patios. I don't think it's making too bad.
What do we do here? Putting the transfer?
We've
No,
done
it's
that.
already-
We've already
That's
done
We
that.
already have
That's
it.
already been
All
done.
we're trying to do is decide what they owe for their annual fees.
I think we just decided, right?
It's 5.
5.
5 for
And then
now,
when
and
you
then when
fix
you
the-
remove
Red
everything.
one,
Come back.
you can go back, we can go back and look. That somebody go back.
Yeah, we'll have
Just let
Robin
us
go
know.
take a look at it.
Yeah.
And you're-
Do they pay
I haven't studied that much. I mean, I haven't been down the
Well,
road.
that's $600 more for the city, so besides the 2.5 that we're.
To be clear, because we own the lake and we own that easement, that's the income that we make to make
I know, we
improvements at the
understand.
lake. And I'm just trying to clarify. The county gets all of your house tax. We don't get a
Yeah.
dime
No,
from
we
that.
don't.
So just, we are trying to maintain the lake. That's part of this whole
We don't have a bond.
process.
I just said went so many years nobody doing it. 'Cause I mean, we lived there 10 years before.
Correct, yeah,
We never got
absolutely.
charged
And
anything.
honestly, we didn't have a lake public officer until Robin, and she's been, what, a year or 2 years? I
Our
can't
house
remember.
at Rocky Ledge 18 is a lot better now.
I don't, wouldn't call that anything. She wrote her stuff down on sticky notes, so I don't think that was really very helpful.
For a few years,
So they've got 5 and that's that.
They've got
Okay.
5, and then when they come in and say,
I'll figure out the other deal.
Okay.
and we'll adjust from there.
Is that fixing to getting the first of the year?
Are we,
Yeah.
have they paid for the year then?
Yes, they.
Taylor did?
Yes.
No.
No.
I will be billing for 3 of those structures. And then if you tell me that the patio, one of the patios been removed, then I can adjust it
Okay,
So three structures for which year?
for this 2024.
Okay, well, we didn't own the property the whole year.
I
So I'm just asking, is it gonna be?
prorated, no, they
So
don't
we have to pay
prorate.
600 for a couple months?
Mhm.
So who paid it before?
No,
Yeah,
they
didn't
didn't
pay.
charge for that yet.
Oh boy, that kind of put a kink in it.
Do we prorate for ownership changes? I mean, in this
Yeah, I think
scenario.
that's not fair.
Okay.
We usually the previous owner has already paid for the year.
Yeah, so you guys should change that first year.
Well, they need to because you
You-
didn't charge her, so I don't know how you can charge us
That's
for
for
the
part of the
remainder,
year.
when she's already paid what she owed.
I agreed to everything else, but that's a little excessive on this part. Paying $600 for about 3 months. I don't have a problem paying the bill. I'll pay prorate. If you want to charge 600, I'll prorate the last few months.
We don't do prorating, and the issue is that
You
Arlene
just
would have
charge the
paid
full
for the
amount.
2 docks, which leaves the 3 structures that haven't been paid for, and you're the new owners. And
But I'll pay when I
that's
own
what
it.
happens
It's like
when
taxes
But
though.
I'll pay when I own it.
We prorate the taxes for the amount of year that.
but the
we
city don't
own it.
prorate.
But the taxing authority doesn't prorate, they get the full year.
Yeah, just like when you
Right.
close on, it, they would have paid all the taxes.
Yeah, we'll go to the sellers and tell them that they owe you for prior.
That's not gonna happen.
Okay, why is that not gonna happen?
Well, she was
She
here
she already paid.
last week. You didn't talk to her and she was here.
Well, I understand that, but you found
Well,
out
she
you got
already
charged
paid-
because
She already paid the fees,
she didn't
She
pay the
was
fees
already
that she
charged.
owed.
but you didn't bill her anymore.
I understand that, but we're billing you guys, so you guys can go.
Well, that's
Go talk to
not
her.
fine. You can't do that, but that's fine.
We can argue.
You can't do that, but I'll be glad to pay what I owe. I don't have a problem. But you can't just, somebody buys a house at December and you're gonna charge it for
Well,
the whole year.
you can't use our property then. That property against
You've already been
trespassing.
paid for it though.
Again,
You can't raise the price in the middle of the game there.
First
Yes,
of
we
all,
can.
it's not your property either.
Yeah,
It belongs to the
that's the
city of
You're
Eskridge.
not the
I'm,
city.
I'm,
You're
I'm
not
talking now
the
about, I'm the city attorney, so I'm talking
Okay, so
about
you
the
don't own
city.
it.
No, the city owns it.
Yes. you
Right,
know.
and you're not the city.
You're just an attorney.
I'm just an attorney.
Just an attorney.
Should I get a harmonica out right now? Is that the Cracker Barrel? Or I thought we were arguing about prorating and taxes and stuff like that. It wasn't worth arguing about.
It's not until you said I had to pay the whole year. That's a little excessive.
Can I ask when you think you're gonna have this patios removed?
I'll do it next week. I'll bring my
That
backhoe
soon,
down.
really?
I'll come down. I don't know. I gotta go look at it.
How
but
about before,
Well, I didn't know if this is something that you're thinking you might get done in the
I
next
just
year.
want
how
to
about
I just
before
want
the
to
next meeting, we
But
can update you?
If you're gonna remove that concrete, it's on our shoreline and it's gonna cause some type of destruction and erosion. So you're gonna have to get a permit before you even do
I'm not gonna
that.
remove the wall.
Because we're gonna
I'm not
need to know
gonna
what
remove
you're
the
doing
wall.
to our
I'm
shore.
not that dumb. I'm not that dumb. I'm not gonna remove the wall. I
I mean,
meant
am I
one of
wrong
the
there?
patios, I was gonna try to make it.
He's talking
smaller.
about
Need a
the-
permit
he's talking
to
about
do
the
that.
I think we
If
patio.
you're
had
gonna get this
permits
patio
covered.
gone, I don't see why we would charge you for this patio.
I understand.
I just didn't think we had
Concrete's there,
permits
we
for
can
it.
talk about
For the
it.
shoreline, we don't require certain.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you do.
If those patios are gone,
I don't wanna take them all down. You got me wrong. The one's fine.
Creates a problem for us.
Want the round one,
Yeah,
but there's
you
something
got
that
that
charges
wooden
so we're
stick
forced
over
to
there.
take it out. I'm not gonna use it.
Too many conversations going on. I can't keep up with 5, 6 people talking at one time. So please.
I don't have a problem with anything except I don't believe in getting charged for the whole year. That's my only problem. And whatever, Mrs. Taylor paid her bill at the beginning of January, I'm sure, for what she was billed for. Now you're gonna try to bill me for something she didn't pay for, which is not right.
It's exactly what we do with boats. If somebody came to get a boat
Well, that's
permit
different.
right now, it's the same price as it was if they would have came at the beginning of the year. Even though they would have got more time, 6 more months of usage, and they're only gonna be getting 2 months out of this, they're still paying the same price
Problem is
as the
nobody
people that
paid
had it
for
for
it
the
yet.
entire year.
Nobody paid for the boat.
They've gotten away with not paying for it, which
Okay,
is
but that's not my fault.
the city being screwed.
That's what, that's not my
I'm
fault.
not saying they're purposely
motion.
doing that, I'm just saying it
Yes,
boils down to
clarify
that.
that with him first.
Hey, I have a question.
Not him, the other him.
Well, you, if we table this and we don't make a decision right now,
Will there be less to decide on by the next meeting?
It depends on what you want me to do.
Well, it's a sidewalk.
Whatever you want to do, move the
Patios, there you go.
make the sidewalk 4 foot wide, eliminate the fence, whatever else you want to
Yeah, I just think-
eliminate. If you can have all that cleared up by the next time we convene, then we're gonna handle that stuff off.
The Corps of Engineers should be.
But I'm still saying we're paying for
talk to
the
if
whole
they're
year for the
moving
dock.
from the shoreline.
For the dock.
yeah, well, they're already paid.
No, they're
That's already paid.
Okay, that's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just-
Okay.
just the
I
stuff
thought
that
you
wasn't
charged
covered.
me for the-
No,
I
no,
was charged for the docks.
No, just-
Oh my God, this is
Okay.
getting one.
Now we understand why you were so
Now
frustrated.
I'm going, I'm not sure to pay them.
The docks have already been paid for.
No.
I understand, okay. you're good.
Wow, okay.
That-
It's like
all
you
we're
were
talking
so
about-
accommodating and now you're so mad. That makes more sense.
I kept there getting charged for everything.
No, no, just the 3 new structures.
Okay, I'll take the fence out, I'll get the patio done,
So how about if we determine what we're keeping and not, and come back?
we'll come
on
back.
the
You tell us about it next
There you
week,
go.
what you've got left.
14th,
Maybe we can just call
I'm
them,
sorry.
come in and.
23rd.
You have
So
all.
I move that we table this till the 23rd.
If they call it, or they,
I just call it in.
well, yeah, you don't have to,
Yes.
I mean, we don't want to be here.
But we can still make the
We can
decision
still
as a
make that
council. They can call in and
They
Robin
just
can
let
be
us know and
notified
she
to go
can
check
go,
it out.
she can go take new pictures.
Will you do that for us, Kelly?
Mhm.
Okay. Just call in,
Right.
just call in.
Perfect. I was thinking,
So we need a motion to
I can
table.
all.
I've already
Yes.
motion moved to table it till the 23rd.
Miscommunication.
Somebody second?
Motion to table the Reed structures I'm sorry. Motion to table
I
the
think she just
decision
carried
on
it
the
over.
Reed
Are they supposed
structures
to be on
to 9/23/24
Are you talking about
So,
housing
by
authority?
Tim, right?
Yes.
Seconded by
Yeah, no.
by Jason, seconded by
Wasn't
Andy.
it? It was in the
It was
email.
by Jeff.
Jason.
Okay, you got that. Yeah. Those in favor? Okay.
Was that?
I got one question.
I was gonna say, just call in to Kelly and let them know it's done, and she will get a hold of Robin, who will go out and check it, and she'll report to us. And you guys don't need to come in.
You're modifying a sidewalk? I
This
don't
is
think
on.
so.
And the fence.
No, we would rather you just remove the fence.
Right, I'm gonna take the fence out.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Even if you move it back, though, you'll be fine. You won't have to have it.
Somebody show me a permit. That's all I'm
Yeah.
asking. For anything. I'm not tearing down retaining walls or anything like that.
You're not constructing anything.
No, not
You're
building.
good. You're good. You're good.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Nina, you don't have to stay unless you want to. This is pretty entertaining, I know.
Really kind of, I've never been to a council meeting.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of
We ought to
interesting.
sell tickets.
One more.
I'll bet this is both your first and your last.
It probably will be, Tim. How did you know?
Just to be
It's
there.
profitable for you.
I truly appreciate what you did for me. Thank you.
All right, next up is
We try, but
Thank you.
Eskridge Housing Authority, next up. Carrie Schaefer, you're up. You're up.
I don't think she could hear it.
Well, she couldn't.
Yeah, I
thought we weren't on the agenda, so I was just sitting back there and listening to. That's because I told you I misread the agenda and I didn't see the housing authority on there, and I guess it is. HOUS, right? Just teasing, but I don't think we are.
What you got for us tonight?
Yeah, really, I just wanted to give you guys an update on last week when we talked about different things we were doing. We've reached out to Stephanie, and I call her Stephanie Warren, but Emthern is her last name. And she's got some great ideas. She's also got a couple of grant writers, some people that may be able to help us with the IGA store, one way or the other. There's a neighborhood revitalization program that Eskridge opted into that gives us some working area. Bill Clayton is one, or Keaton, actually, Bill Keaton from Alta Vista is one of the grant writers, but I think he's busy with Alta Vista. So they're looking at a Jana Williams. Anybody know her?
We all do.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know her. So, but if, they can't do us any good, then we'll find somebody else. They do have a foothills assessment and a housing assessment tool already set up. There's some webinars that we can go to. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, basically. They can tell us exactly what Wabunsee County needs, what's being done across the country, what's being done across the state to revitalize small towns.
I think that even zeroes down to the cities in some cases,
Mhm.
like for business purposes.
Exactly.
Like coffee
Yeah.
shops, cafes, restaurants.
Exactly.
I mean, cafes and restaurants, same thing.
Yeah. And so
Different businesses.
we still need to
Very
meet with
good
her.
tool.
She had COVID, so let's kind of put things on. Yeah, I'm not going there until she's done with that. So, and then she's going to email us some stuff to just take a look at and get a head start. So that's where we're at. We're just kind of waiting on our meeting times. So that's pretty much it. Okay. No questions?
Well, thank you.
Do you know what these grants, are they 50/50 or?
They're various.
They're various degrees, and they're really motivated for Eskridge. I mean, she is motivated for Eskridge. She's from here. But they've kind of been planning on getting a hold of us anyway.
Eskridge was a target before.
Yeah.
I mean,
FYI, right.
Before Stephanie got involved.
Yeah.
Eskridge was a target for improvement.
Right. So it's going to vary. There's some rebates. There's just a lot of different options. But once we get a hold of this guy, he can narrow it down. And once we look over and do our assessments, we'll know exactly what's out there for what we need. So, and it could, there's a lot of matching grants out there. And there's a lot of 50/50s. There's a lot out there. We just have to get our hands on it. So.
There's 2/3 match grants.
Well, Benson County Extension Office, I would ask them to Bernadette Trebe. I can write that down for you too.
She works with Stephanie on the Wabunsee County Housing.
I figured,
Board. She
but
says all that with
they've
us.
been talking about some housing grants as well. It's
Okay.
it's a big button
Is it
right now. TRIEB.
Okay.
She might be able to at least direct him to some specific stuff.
That'd be great. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. We need businesses and we need people living here, and they don't have to be big fancy businesses. If they can just
Yeah.
People can buy stuff and if they can hire somebody, so, you know.
I heard Chester's wanting to make a laundromat down there where the thrift store used to be.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
Where, at the thrift store, the
Oh, thrift store.
at the
Being
Dean does.
Dean's.
On the south end, yeah.
So, but I think they're all just their own money.
Oh, not tonight.
And I don't know, I know that building at one time needed a lot of work, but all the buildings need a lot of work.
It'll take a little something to get it going.
And we have a lot of ideas that we've been throwing around to see what's feasible, but we need to just do this assessment to get a handle on it and, you know, see exactly what they say we need. And then, of course, I would like to ask the people here what they need, you know. It's great to go in someplace and tell people what they need, but we need to see what our people need too. So.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, Annie, you're up.
I'm gonna bullet point it since I presented last week. We have $78,000 cash in hand through the Eskridge Park Foundation, which is all donor raised funds. We are participating in a match grant in November where I think we can very easily hit 100,000 plus. Last year they did a $10,000 match and we got that. So they matched dollar for dollar to our 10,000. So 20,000 total is what I'm trying to say. And then they went over that actually. So we're asking the city to contribute $50,000. We are going to apply for a CDBG grant, which is a $3 match for every dollar that we contribute. So I didn't bring all that paperwork again, so I hope you guys can. It would knock out the $150,000 if we can put that into this grant. It would knock out the majority of the projects that we can afford right now. The pavilion roof and repaving of the ice skating rink, that's just something that fell out because she bid it like close to $1 million. So might be a pipe dream, but we'll work on the date. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have questions for me.
And just to add, they're gonna be high bids and we could get some of these projects done considerably cheaper.
Right. And we've looked at some of the numbers as well and feel like we could probably save us in a lot of places. But I talked to Brett Wagner today and he did clarify that we don't actually have to dedicate this money today. We just need you to have a letter declaring your contribution. So it would be paid out sometime in the next like 12 months is what he said to expect. So as far as like the 1% sales tax, I know this would put it over our, what's the word I can't think of? Budget authority, because it's at 17,000 for the rest of this year, but by next year it would be fine. And we'd be over 50,000 for sure. I mean, I think you could still do that.
Yeah, I don't think we had that 17,000 earmarked for anything this year anyway, do we not?
No, it's just sitting because we thought we'd have to pay a lot more for the sidewalk we did this year.
So it's possible that we could earmark the 17,000 to this project for this year and then possibly do something next year for the money that comes in.
I have to know a dollar amount for the grant application itself, but yeah, we can absolutely decide at different dates where the money's coming from, but we do have to know how much the city wants to put in total.
And the only thing I would want to know about for the future for 2025 is, do we have any projects yet set up for concrete work, sidewalks?
We do. We had the Vader. He was supposed to be connecting the nursing home with the sidewalk all the way to Main Street next year.
Have you talked to the
That's
owners on
gonna
that property? I'm just curious to make sure we can do it.
The owners on what property? They're all gonna be, the sidewalk's all gonna be where the sidewalk.
So it's going to be on the easement.
It's gonna be on the easement. I used to walk Main Street all the way to my parents' house down there and cut down Cedar Street to the rest because there was no sidewalk on Cedar Street.
From like your gas station to the nursing home, there's sidewalk there before?
Well, that's me. So
I mean, all of it's you?
I'm gonna be talking to myself. Yeah, it's all me that has.
I just thought there was another owner as well.
Do you-
That's what I'm trying to figure
Do
out.
you need me to be there for the conversation so you don't abuse yourself?
Sure.
You can get kind of like mean sometimes.
Sure.
He won't let himself finish his own
Okay.
sentence.
I thought Monty owned some of that as well. I guess I'm just mixing it up.
Is the thing that you're doing with the
I just wanted to make sure we actually could
dedication
do
of
it.
funds is a contractual item, meaning,
Basically, if we get the grant, then yes, we've said we're putting that money in.
because that would be a question for your budget, because when you obligate the funds is the question. You wouldn't be able to, right now, you'd be able to only say 17 unless you actually had the funds on hand. It's a cash-based question.
But the 17 could carry over if we don't do anything with it this
Well,
year,
I mean,
correct?
I don't know. I'm saying if you say if you apportion the funds today, you say something like, we're going to pay $50,000 today. You've got to have $50,000 there, or else you're violating cash base.
Sorry, let me clarify too. We don't have the budget authority over 17 is what we said last meeting, but we actually have, was this the 49,000? Am I wrong? Am I reading it wrong? Ending cash balance.
Yeah, it's not the ending cash balance that you're looking at. It is the, let's
Well, I mean, you
see.
need $33,000 of other authority somewhere. That's not already obligated.
We can adjust it, can't we? Vote to change the budget.
You got to amend it. You got to amend it.
Amend the budget.
Yeah.
Is it
That-
possible?
The
The
highlight
more you
at
take
the
from the
end.
1%,
What's
asking to
actually
do
in
the
there?
5-year plan
What
for
we have the
sidewalks,
authority.
that's
Yes,
gonna
but what's
disrupt
actually
that.
in there?
Which means
So
The actual ending cash balance is
What the money's for,
$49,858.
no, it's not. It's for the
So
sidewalks and
that's the
curbs and
current
gutters.
balance, 49,000 is
An
in there, and
occasional
we've already
park.
paid.
You've
Then where are
been
you gonna get
tipping
this
only
money?
from the park this year for the park out of there.
I'm not a
So-
fan of taking the money from the housing authority for this. That's wrong.
Could we do it as a loan from the housing authority?
That's
Not,
what I would entertain.
No, and that's why I'm asking.
Loan how too, like,
Well,
'cause
the only
we've
thing-
already
what's irrelevant
raised
now?
80,000.
So you think that all that money's the housing
I'm not
authority money?
I know that.
paying the city
Is
back.
it not?
We're getting- I'll just say.
I want your answer. What do you think? Is it,
It came from the housing authority's sale of their building, right?
so
Am I
then
wrong?
it is the housing authority's money?
I agree with that. Yes.
Is everybody else in agreement of that?
I mean, I think
What?
it's
Where's
the
the trap?
city's
What are
money.
you building that to?
It's what I'm saying.
I want to know
Deliver a
if,
punchline.
if everybody agrees that it's the housing authority board's money, then ta-da, there it is. If not, then you're gonna split it up and spend it some way.
I find it very confusing because just a few, meetings ago, you were trying to get that money to do a restroom at the lake. We're sitting here saying, well, maybe some of that could go to the park. So it's not real clear to me at this point. Like, people have different opinions on that. But it's city money. I don't care at this
Well,
point.
that may be the question.
If it was city money, then why didn't you care when we found somebody getting their hands in a cookie jar? And it was like, well, it's housing authority's money, so we never
I
prosecuted
absolutely
anybody.
never said that. I don't know why you're trying to put some kind of words in my mouth.
Well,
that
I don't
didn't
understand why
say.
you weren't interested.
I wasn't interested in
pursuing.
prosecuting without actual documentation, and that was what was
We
missing.
had
from
the
that.
cold hard evidence.
No, we didn't.
We had a
didn't
lot
have
more
any of those
evidence than the other
receipts.
situation that we were discussing, and that we just let it go. And because the money was the housing authority's money and not the city's money. Now suddenly it's not the housing authority's money, it's city money.
It is
Well-
city money.
And I don't know that I haven't researched the answer to that question. I mean,
If it's housing authority money, why did you for the
Because I knew
bathrooms at
that
the
you were
lake?
gonna ask for it, you told me that.
Exactly. This is the whole shebang here. Everybody's fighting over this. I'm not even asking for that money. I'm sitting here saying I don't care where it comes from. Can I clarify too that just because the budget authority is $17,586, the account actually holds $49,000 in it currently, and we are paid up on those bills. So we can amend the budget.
So
just
let me ask, I
FYI.
want to ask this question about that statement, if I could.
Which one? Because I
The
don't
one
know.
you just mentioned, the ending cash balance is currently at 49,858,
Uh-huh.
but the remaining budget authority is 17,000.
Because we've budgeted for 55,000. We got more
So-
money.
So what does that mean for the ending cash balance? What does that
the
mean?
ending cash, I'm saying for the purposes of budgeting, the ending cash balance doesn't matter. It matters what you're authorized to spend.
But we
So
can
17.
amend.
But you can't amend it, right? But you got to do the publication and all that. But you do set up the hearing and you amend it. You amend to give yourself the authority to spend the remainder of the 49,000.
So in this case, it's
50.
31,000 roughly.
Yeah, or you get whatever authority you need to make the 50,000. If you don't have it somewhere.
So that makes more sense to me that that money is available, but we have to make an amendment in order to use it this year.
Correct.
Okay, I understand.
So what's the projected amount that we're gonna have at early spring next year when the concrete project's gonna be happening? Because we've been having that for multiple years. That's kind of the set thing for the next 10 years that would be happening. So do you know a total of what we would have left? Because it's about $30,000 to $40,000 of work every year that we've been doing. So
Well, you're throwing these numbers at me, so no, I have not crunched them. But what I can tell you is in 2023, the revenue brought in was 48,000 for the 1% sales tax. So far, 2024, we've already brought in $3 under 38,000, and we have
3 months to go.
Yeah,
roughly.
right. So
So we're close to last year's.
yes, very close to last year's. We've exceeded 20.
So I guess, do I need to go back to Devater and tell him to cancel this project that I've already previously had spoken to him about? Because we're not gonna have the money for it.
I
and
don't
we're
see,
gonna-
I don't see that reasoning to do that, because we're looking at 48,000 coming in next year. So we have a remaining balance right now of 31,000. So your 79,000 that will or could be available for all of next year. So no, I don't see the reason to drop that project. You might still be able to do that project and still have a large chunk of that left over to go to the park board. And then we can come up with money from other areas for the remaining 50,000 if that's what we so desire to do. But the sidewalk project to me is a very needy thing.
And it's gonna be extensive, more so than what it has been because of the distance that it's gonna
Yes, but that
go
is,
out there.
that is,
Plus the requirement of a bridge that's gonna be have to put back and added is another
yeah, but
expense on top of that.
just think about this as a safety aspect of it. Those residents that live out there cross that highway all the time coming downtown. That sidewalk gets in for safety. They won't have to touch that main street at all. They'll be on the sidewalk.
That's what we're going for, yeah.
And I agree with,
Walk down
I
the
agree with
gravel
Danny.
road.
I agree with wholeheartedly. That's what that purpose of that sidewalk from that point up to here. When I first heard about it, I was against it because the idea was to do the park and then move through the downtown area before we spread anywhere else. But then that subject came up and it suddenly changed my mind because of the safety reason behind it. But I think both projects are doable. That's what I think.
Has anybody talked to the guy that owns the pasture next to the, I think it's a great idea, but has anybody talked to Hayes? Monty Hayes, the guy that owns that property?
I have not talked to Monty Hayes, but if you look at where the fence lines are, there's plenty of easement there that's not even his property. It's not fenced off.
Maybe right there on the edge.
Right. That would be coming through my property and going through the easement to his, clear to the nursing home.
Years ago, he didn't have any problem with it, so, years ago.
Okay. Anything else, Annie, that you want to
No,
throw at us?
I do need the project scope approved, and then I do need, like, we need to do this as soon as we possibly can, because we're putting this application together right now.
Here's another question that I have for Todd. Since Annie and I sit on the park board, should we be voting on this? In the same respect, I also sit on the housing board, so should I be voting on any of that either? Because to me, in my mind, it's kind of feeling
I wasn't gonna vote because I'm
icky.
presenting it
Well,
anyway.
Okay,
I don't know how
yeah, there's
That's good.
separating out the moral, ethical
Right.
dilemma you may have for doing that. If you feel like you don't ethically feel like you can do it, that's not a legal question. The legal question is, do you have a direct financial interest or indirect financial interest in any of the projects that are being proposed by either body? Meaning, are you getting paid, or do you own a business that would be involved in any of the construction or contracting?
What if they have a friend that's doing it? Does that count too?
No, it just counts the family or their own direct
Who has a
investment.
friend?
I don't know any of
I
these
don't-
people.
I was gonna say,
Can you
they
start
ought
a
to be
construction
getting,
company?
if
real
they're
quick?
friends, they ought to be getting a better deal.
Some money.
I do want to throw this.
Maybe
out
I
there.
make something off of this shit.
No, you're not. If direct financial interest, then you are not prohibited from voting.
I don't know if it makes any difference at all. I think it probably doesn't. But when the Park Advisory Committee was first formed, there was to be one person on the city council that is also on the committee. There's now 2. I don't know if that matters.
Doesn't matter because it's not, I mean, the only reason it would matter is open meetings.
I just want to make sure I threw that out there since we now have 2.
Yeah, that's not a.
So you want to remove one of us? Say the name.
You're fired.
I'm the president, so there's a lot of stuff that's about to drop if you get me kicked off.
So I guess.
Like,
you-
who's gonna do my paperwork?
Who's gonna do the work if you're gone,
I
right?
got a lot of names on IRS documentation that I'll take off real fast.
All right.
That wasn't where I was going. I was
No,
just
I
making
know.
a point.
It seems to me,
I am,
correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that if we were to commit 50,000, we're also gonna have to have a budget hearing meeting to adjust something so we can count for it. And we have to give notice to the public we're gonna do that. So we're talking at least 2 weeks before that can take place.
I don't know what, I haven't done a budget, so I don't know what the amendment deadline and the publication deadline and all that stuff is.
We'll have to amend the other budget. What employee benefits Lisa was saying, can you do that both at the same time?
Yeah,
I think they just do it at the end of the year, I thought, on accounting. Am I crazy?
No,
Just kidding.
we have to do
They can go to me then.
yeah,
before.
but, well, yeah, I think the process is in the statute, so it's the same as,
Sorry.
somewhat similar to the budget. You just kind of don't have a deadline like you do in August or September or whatever. But if we intend to move forward with that, we can give her the go ahead to say, yes, we're gonna give you the 50,000. We will be amending our budget so that we can afford to do that.
And according to
Does that make
Lisa's memo, we're gonna have to amend the budget anyway.
Okay.
I mean, just for the employee
So
benefits.
start
I
the
know.
process of amending the budget to fix both problems, and that's the directive right now. Okay. So do we need anything now? Not now. You don't have a budget in front of you, so.
But we should tonight, do you not agree that we should tonight set up the dates for the budget hearing
Yeah.
and get that put in the paper?
Well, I think it's dictated by the publication dates and just what you gotta prepare. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. What I'm saying, what I think the answer is as soon as you can get it organized, to get it to a regular meeting, get the documents together and everybody just get the actual document together, the budget document that you need. So I don't think right now you could sit here and say it's gonna be November 11th.
So,
It might be, but
put setting the amending the budget date to the next meeting. In other words, we'll
Yeah.
discuss it at the next meeting and decide on the date.
yeah, well, or map it out so that first everybody gets the information that they need into your budget document that says, here's what we're giving authority to do and whatever Lisa's thing is. Have that, then you just map out your publication days with meeting dates like you did before and just say, okay, the soonest we can publish and have it is October 14th or October 28th.
Okay.
But all you need from us is a pledge that we're going to do
Yeah.
$50,000.
Just a letter.
You won't actually need the money for up to 12 months from submission.
Yeah, sometime in the next.
So it won't immediately affect anything to do with the sidewalk.
Right.
We'll be already generating the funds to cover all of that. And at this point, we believe that we will have the funds to both do the sidewalks and the park.
We don't have that bid, so I don't know for sure. I can't give you a.
Do we have any, like a rough idea?
I don't know how many.
He had
I
a
don't know
rough
how many square
idea.
feet. Did he?
Like submit it.
I didn't hear.
I'm
Did
trying
I
to.
give you a copy of that when I talked about it, Kelly, or no?
Of what?
The rough bid for the sidewalk to the nursing home.
No.
Do you have like a guess, just off the top of your head?
It was close to 50.
50?
50.
Is that all gonna,
I've never seen
is that gonna be 1 year?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll all be done in 1 year.
And that'll be all of next year's tax money.
It would if we have it.
More than next year's.
Maybe it'll be, I mean, I don't know.
So then where's the money gonna come from that we're talking about for the park?
That's what we're gonna have a budget adjustment hearing on.
Well, I
Well,
think that we
you're-
should
No, we didn't do
declare exactly where we stand on the $114,000, and then we can move forward making decisions with where's money coming from. Because there needs to be an answer of, is it cities to delve out as they see fit? Is it housing board authorities money? Can the park get some money from it too? And is there enough money to potentially do something to the IGA?
Okay, well, I mean, that's the legal question is who has the rights to the money, right?
Right.
It's currently 114,000 sale. Well, I have an answer for that, and you guys do your budget.
Because there's 3 things that are wanting it. If you break it down 3 ways, that's $38,000 a piece for the park, the IGA, and the housing authority.
The IGA and the housing authority, aren't they one and the same?
No. The IGA would be the money to be doing something with it, which I don't know what you could do with the $114,000 total there, but you can get grants or.
I say we don't touch a dime of that money and
Until we
let
know.
the housing authority decide how it's best to be used. And then we collectively make a decision whether or not we agree with that.
Probably have to get those.
Like the way that the park was formed,
Usually get copies of that.
park committee.
Like they do the work and have a plan and then we approve
Mhm.
the money. And to be clear, we didn't ask for any money in the park. We actually started from 0. And I'm not saying that they should, because I want housing work done in Eskridge. We actually just started fundraising just to get that initial pot for anything that we did. We paid it out of pocket out of that. So
I understand
mailers,
all
all
of
that
that.
stuff.
And you've done a
And
hell of
I'm
a
trying
job.
to just clarify that. We don't come and ask for money all the time. There seems to be like an interesting rhetoric that started in the last like 6 months to a year. And I don't know why. I'm dedicating a lot of hours a week for this because I thought that the town was behind me, like everybody was in support. And it seems very negative recently. I'm telling you that this is the project that ends the rest of the projects. Like, I am not going to come back and ask you for $50,000 again. I promise. Like, we're fundraising. And we do fundraise a lot every year. $30,000-$40,000 we've raised. And I can prove that. I can back all that up. I'm not just spitballing. So yes, we've asked for some help on certain projects like that really awful scenario with the bandstand when COVID prices hit, and that was crap. But most of the time we've paid out of pocket for everything. So this is not a housing authority conversation. I'm not talking about you guys at all. I'm talking about the park. We have volunteered for almost 8 years. I literally have my name on all these IRS documents. If I walked away, I'd be in trouble. So I do this monthly, daily, weekly for free. And I'm not asking for compensation. And I know you guys know all this, but.
And the whole park board has been maintaining the.
Yeah, we get
Watering and
people
everything.
together. We water
Why-
weekly.
That's a
all
concern.
Summer.
The city crew doing that.
That's a concern.
Because it's
These are
not being
additional
done.
things that have not ever been done before in the park. So we're trying to make a maintenance plan. We have the staffing for like smaller jobs like this. We're okay for now. We're hoping to actually establish like a master gardeners committee and take care of the plants. There are other areas like at the lake. I know that they take care of their flowers up at the front. And we don't even hear about it. So
I would think that Barry.
we will be,
in
yeah.
the city. I would think that Barry, since he's basically in charge of the city of Eskridge, I think he could put that in his.
It's just
schedule
new,
to do
and
that.
we're just trying to
I'm
work
just
on.
throwing that out
It's
there.
it can be a daily watering, so it's not like a small job that you're adding to his workload. And I know that's his job is maintenance. Like, I'm not saying that. We're trying to work out a schedule and then actually kind of work it with them as well.
And I think utilizing the part-time help in a better fashion would.
That could be
And
an
maybe
answer
for
too.
future,
This is just how we've worked it out this year because we didn't want to make big changes. We're just trying
and
to
maybe a
see what we
future
need.
project might include putting in a water system down there.
That would be lovely. At this point, we literally climb in a hole
Add that to your
and
park
get that.
projects.
On the list.
If we have enough, I think we'll try to throw it in there, to be honest, for this grant.
You got my vote if you do that.
I'm in agreement with that. But
We won't kill all of our trees before they get a chance to grow.
I don't know how well you guys read the scope. I think I need separate approval for that scope from the city council because it is a city project. We are applying underneath the city. So I think in this meeting, I do need at the very least approval of the scope, and if you read it very well, we can talk about it now. But those projects I presented last week, and obviously it's funding based. I don't know which ones will get bumped at this point, but we can still talk about that. I'm not going to just make decisions without any notice. But I do need you to approve that scope is what I'm saying. So money aside, I need that approval this evening because we need to have that for the application process.
Oh, just the approval for the scope.
For the scope of the work, basically, yeah. Project scope.
Are we all on board for
Do you have any questions?
getting the 50,000 to the park board, regardless of how we figure out the funding for it.
No. Just because of the last part that you said.
Right. We are working out figuring
And
out the
it's-
funding.
And as far as the scope, I'm not in favor of the multi whatever.
The rubber surfacing?
No, the
Sorry.
what's that flavor of the month game?
Pickleball.
Pickleball. I don't think that's gonna be around in a couple of years. I don't understand why we would dump thousands of dollars into something when I almost never. There's one family that I see use our tennis court as it is.
I have had other people
One
express
fan.
interest in
Go,
it.
go through.
We're not
Topeka
getting rid of
21st
the
years and
tennis
See what they're doing there.
court. Terry.
That's Topeka. There's a couple more people in Topeka.
I know of it.
So and that's modifying.
I'm just saying.
Can I clarify that though too? Is we're not getting rid of the tennis court. We'll still have a tennis court with a net. We're just adding pickleball,
And you'll still have a
lines,
basketball court there.
and
too.
we will have a half court basketball. So we're actually going to add that because it's not even in existence. I mean, the rims get ripped down all the time, but the top part, the tennis court, will be a half court basketball as well, with actual correct lines and whatnot, and great surfacing. To clarify, we're not just putting in pickleball. We're definitely not Topeka. I'm not going down that road either.
Recreational park.
Or a skate park. I mean,
Including
there's been a lot of ideas. So if I get a vote for the scope at least, unless we have more questions.
I heard from Tim and I heard from Jason. The other two.
I like the plan.
Okay.
You need a motion to approve the scope.
You know how I feel.
So you're down for the scope. So I would make a motion that we approve the scope of work.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Jason to approve the scope of work for the park. Seconded by Michelle. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Am I allowed to vote in this?
Yep.
Those opposed? Motion passes 4-1.
Did you have some other issues or questions?
No, we're done. Let's move on.
I just wanted to clarify anything.
Too late.
Okay,
Afterward, if you'd like, Tim, I would.
next up is the camera audio visual replacement estimate.
We're not doing the money side for the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were done.
No,
thought that
the
was it.
scope of work I needed approved. That's just to put the application in.
Well, it seems
basically.
like we gotta do the amendment, I gotta figure out the source. That's what I thought you
Yeah,
guys were gonna do
so I
next
thought we were
meeting.
done too.
So
Have an
the-
answer on a source.
The amount we're asking for as of it.
We'll at least have a plan for the budget, maybe that.
So when do you need the actual?
So this application is due October 29th, I believe. It may be November 1st. I'm off, I think, by a few days. I heard both dates.
Even so, October 29th.
But I need really, as soon as possible, the amount we're gonna bid, because he's gotta start like intensively writing the grant application, and we need that amount, the dollar amount for that.
Okay, so we have 3 meetings now before it's actually due, but you'd like to know quite a bit
Well,
before
and
that. So
we have to.
that
I
almost
mean,
gives us
to write it.
basically less than 2 meetings or less than a month.
Well, I think you commit if you got, at least got the budget amendment process in motion.
I mean, can any of this just come out of general? I don't like to take it from, because I know that's usually the tightest fund.
Generally, usually doesn't give anything to the park.
It doesn't matter.
I just asked.
Yeah,
There's
authority-
usually
you
not
have
any
authority
money
for-
for 10 years. I've
We
always
need
asked about
$33,000.
generally. Oh, we don't have
And
money.
we've used it for tearing down houses.
Lake Fund's got 96,000 in it.
I
We
don't
could
want to
budget
start that
authority
fight
more
too.
money from the lake into the general fund. That's a start for Eskridge.
How big of an nightmare would it be just to annex the lake?
Too far away.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get that
Full of
anyway.
And tax money.
Yeah.
It looks like you're going to have to pick this
Or
apart to
them
get
to
your
them.
33,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I understand the necessity, but I'm having a problem with, there somebody coming out of this body that says that they're committing,
Mhm.
contractually committing to pay $50,000 to anything when they don't have the authority to do it.
I have to agree with that. That's why I'm saying we gotta try to find some other way to
At
pull
least
it out.
facially, you have the budget process in play. That, you know, that you can- I mean, I know it's not a contract necessarily, but and
Maybe we can get our delinquent accounts reports paid and then we'd have some money. That's a tough one.
So do I just have to wait for like the budget amendment or, I
I'm
mean,
just saying at least have those answers for next meeting.
okay, I think I can, but I
And if we
definitely,
have a date for the budget amendment, then I'm probably pretty happy with it.
okay.
And if you don't approve the budget amendment, then it'll be real tough.
And that depends on when we can get it into the newspaper, correct?
I think.
So as long as we got a date for the meeting for the budget amendment, the process is rolling, we can move forward.
Yeah, that's good enough for rock and roll right now.
Okay, we wait for the next meeting where hopefully we have
Okay.
dates.
Probably not good enough for the AG, but good enough for rock and roll.
And that's another agenda item. Okay, now let's move on. I'm assuming we're done, Annie, on that. Okay,
That's fine.
camera, audio visual replacement bids. They're in your book.
I'm good with whatever.
So the second bid is just basically adding a microphone to our existing setup.
And we're looking at $20. We're looking at $20 difference.
And it's $20 difference.
You get a new camera.
No, that would be the same camera, as far as I understand.
And it's
The current webcam will
mic.
still handle the video, however, this hardware in the estimate will be a speakerphone, which means it can be speaker and mic. Yeah, I think this is just this is just a
What we
speaker
have
and
right
mic.
there.
no, no.
Because
First
we've
one
set
Well,
that
it-
phone right here before.
It's just basically
It's different.
this will just be a speaker and microphone in one added to that camera. Well, sort of. It'll be added to the system. There'll be additional software to use and training to operate, is what it reads.
Yeah, but it also says, you know, there may be a problem with YouTube.
It also says how to correct that problem.
Yeah.
If so, we'll utilize the OBS software to manage the video and the mic connections.
OBS will be on YouTube and training will be required.
Yeah.
The other one is a plug and play replacement webcam.
So the same thing.
And it's the same, basically the same thing we have. It's just the newer version.
It doesn't explain if it has a remote mic. That is what
It does not
we
say.
want.
Yeah, I think number 2 would be the better one. Don't you? For that purpose.
I think what we want would be best. I think a camera with a mic that hangs right here would be best. I mean, that's what we've been asking for. Is that what this other option is? If so, then I'm all for it.
No, number 2 is literally just a microphone that doubles as a speaker that adds on to our existing system, but it requires additional software and some training to operate. Number 1 is literally just a webcam. It's the same thing we've got now, just replacing it. As far as it
But
looks
does it
like
have a
here,
remote mic?
doesn't.
We don't know.
We don't know for sure.
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
Says
He
the
knows
hard-
what we wanted.
Says the hardware will have a speakerphone. Can be a speaker and a mic.
You're looking at the,
Number 2.
Right.
where are you seeing number 1 and number?
He's
I
just-
see
I'm
number
just-
1
they're-
on both of them.
I don't see, I'm referring to number 1 as $210 and number 2 as $230.
All right. Now we're literally on the same page.
Okay.
You only
This is absurd. I don't know why we're looking at something that only has a couple sentences in it. I don't know what the hell it is we're looking at.
Here we go, on the back. Logitech MX Brio Ultra HD 4K streaming webcam.
No comment of what we asked him for, the mic. I don't like either one of them.
What's in the back of the other one?
I'm like,
Speakerphone.
I
No
don't-
picture of it?
I don't see that on the first one. Speakerphone, where's that at?
Look at the back page of back of number 2.
Yeah.
It says speakerphone.
Right.
Back of number 1 just says
Right.
webcam.
Okay,
And that's what we asked him for, was a webcam with a mic that drops down. I know they sell them. I sent you the image of it. What? I don't understand the holdup. I don't know why we can't get.
I didn't contact him again because since the last one, this is just the original stuff. Because I mean, I didn't.
I wasn't
Did you want
expecting you
me
to.
to
No, I was
contact
not
him and tell
expecting
him you
you
wanted
to.
something different?
I'm telling you that when he was standing here,
that's what he
I
requested.
asked him.
Yeah.
And my frustration is because he didn't submit what I asked him for. I mean,
That's the first one. That's it.
well, Terry, did I send you a picture of what it was that I found?
I do remember looking at it on your phone.
Okay. Because it was essentially that with a room, not room,
Drop
I
mic,
guess.
like a boom mic kind of thing.
I'm not in favor of making any.
Kaylee, email him
action.
back, Kelly, and ask for what Tim's.
If someone
What the hell
wants
Tim's
to
talking about?
tell me exactly what to tell him you want, I will definitely get him the information, or I can provide his contact information to anyone who would like to speak directly to him. He's more than willing to talk to anybody about what they want.
Can you get Kelly the specific information?
I want a camera very, very similar to that right there with a cord that drops the mic that hangs right about here. That's all I want.
With a couple of speakers that go right back out there.
That would be a nice addition to drown out the people who talk back there and won't stop.
Is that enough information? You need to know what those are called if you don't know what those are specifically called.
I'll just ask him to watch the last few minutes of this so he can hear directly what you guys are wanting.
That is brilliant!
There you go.
Muffled well.
And it picks up way better listening, actually. If you go and watch it all with closed captioning, you can read everything people say when you can't hear it. So there you go, Dolly. If
Next
you're
time
gonna
we'll
read
We will
captioning,
discuss
you
this
can
on
read
the
it all.
23rd now.
Works on the TV.
Table.
I'll move that we table this until the 23rd.
For a new meeting information. Okay. All right. Camera replacement discussion table to September 23rd or more. Tim, seconded by Jason. Those in favor?
Wait a minute.
Okay. Any
Does
discussion?
everybody feel the same way I do about needing the drop mic?
Yes. I think
Clarity
it's
on
good.
the mic would be great.
I've had a lot of people complain that they can't hear what we're saying on a video.
And I do agree with trying to see if we can find some speakers for the back of the
I feel like I'm being the only one that's being vocal here, so.
At least one.
Right.
But when they speak, they also need to be able to be heard by everybody too, as well.
We gotta come up with that.
Well, I've got to do a
We're
better.
not putting a mic back there, man.
I've got to do a
All
better
that.
job. I have got to do a better job of keeping the crowd conversations down to a bare minimum so that we can hear people talking when they talk in the back. Instead of everybody ganging in there all the time.
An option of a second mic that we can off or shut off when we want to. That might be really good.
Okay, can we move on?
Yes.
Next thing on the agenda is.
Did we vote? We didn't vote. We didn't vote.
Sorry.
On the motion.
All right. That's right. We had a motion by Tim to table this to the 23rd for further information, second by Jason. Those in favor? It's tabled.
Before you say anything else, Terry, since this was camera related, I just wanted to emphasize that this is now year 3 that we have not held our responsibility to have the camera working out at the bait shop. People have backed into the gates. We have no idea who did it to hold them accountable for it. They're bent, they're hard to move. And now one of the kayaks that Julie rents out there has been stolen, and the cameras would have been directly on that if we had them. So we should probably be looking into something for there. It's
I thought
literally
somebody
been
was
3
gonna get a
years.
bid at some point. What happened?
I have no
It's
idea.
definitely not my assignment.
Exactly, yeah, what happened, because that was a discussion.
I mean, I think back when Justin was in.
He said
and then it was
$2,000.
I didn't get
Who
there.
said?
The,
Culligan?
whoever.
Yeah,
We can
Culligan,
just-
we got a bid from Culligan.
I see.
And
We get that.
Amazon some
That's
Yeah,
a donkey.
$300
Okay,
Yeah.
stuff.
anything else on that, Brett?
No, I just wanted to.
Okay. All right, next up on the agenda is the employee handbook again.
Well, actually, city credit card was on there.
No, we
Okay,
don't.
yeah, I'm sorry, I scratched it off, but that's right, the city credit card's on here. And we bumped that to the executive session, so we need to scratch that. Is that correct?
So we're not going to talk anything about it.
Well, if you guys want to talk about it, you can. It's on the agenda. I don't care.
Do you want to explain what it was?
Well, I think we had an executive session about.
Yeah, it'd be
what it
kind of
was.
hard to explain what it was without divulging what was said in the
I think that's
Executive session.
specifically designed why we had that executive session so that information flow wouldn't get to the public. And I just wanted that stated. Because of that executive session, people in this town don't have any information on that. And that's a shame that we just did
Well,
that.
people are coming up to me with information, they're getting it from somewhere. And that's okay too, but I don't need to do any of that either.
As I recall, it was put on the agenda in case that we didn't have Mike here, so. Right?
I think it was on the agenda last week and or the last time and we had to take it off because he wasn't here, but I don't remember.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Okay, and that's fine.
I mean, I'm just gonna be asked about this from the public and what am I supposed to tell them, Todd? Give me an answer of what I am supposed to tell people when they directly ask me what city credit card is meant and the comments from the last meeting as well, because instruct me, because I need to know.
Tell them that it's a matter now of a legal matter involving the city that is not subject to general discussion.
And why is that?
That's because it involves legal matters that involve the city, possible litigation, legal liability, similar matters that could be affected by the fact that the parties involved discuss it openly, including the city.
So to be clear, anything discussed in executive session is meant to be held in these walls, not spoken to anyone else.
That's right. And there has been a change in the law recently, only in the sense that there was an AG's opinion that was recently released that likely changes, and it's an attorney general's opinion, it's not a statute, but it changes the fact that the attorney general's of the opinion that you can exclude somebody from future executive sessions if they reveal the information in an executive session. So
that's interesting.
Well, it's very, very new. And I don't know that you have to understand that that's an attorney's opinion.
But what if that is over half the council? How do you ever have executive sessions again?
You don't.
You probably don't.
Or you suck it up and deal.
You suck it up and deal and just let the rest of them feed information to employees.
I would suggest, the issue is how do you enforce compliance with executive session? The one way is a criminal ouster petition is filed with the county attorney and given evidence of the fact that those were breached, and the county attorney can determine if that person should be ousted from their office. The other thing is that the person could be recalled. We're talking about a democratic solution to a electoral problem, and the fact that the misconduct is not criminal, except in as much as it could result in a forfeiture of office after due process of law, meaning the aforementioned ouster proceeding in district court. So those are the ways that it happens. If you believe that it's inappropriate to do, that somebody is revealing information, an elected official is revealing information, then that
Well,
would be.
it's not getting into the he said, she said, somebody told me that they said this, that, or not. But like literally, there has been council members that have said in executive session that they went out of the last executive session and had talked to employees and came back. So they've literally admitted it
Mhm.
in here.
Yeah, and that would be appropriate to pursue ouster proceedings on those facts if the county attorney believes that it's appropriate to prosecute. Or if the public believes that a recall election is appropriate, then they can pursue that. But it's not a matter of civil enforcement by the city.
So Todd, would that mean like if damage was done from it, the district attorney might consider it, or?
I don't know what
damage part of it?
Well, I don't know what the county attorney's position on any of this is as far as damage is concerned, but it's not a matter of damage.
Okay.
I think it's a matter of the law, meaning it doesn't matter that somebody was hurt, I mean, financially or emotionally. It matters that a law was broken in that it makes that person or persons unfit to serve in the representative capacity. He'll have to, it's still Mr. Leisman, right?
Mhm.
He'll have to keep his own counsel about what his limits are about that. Because that's his job.
And we're all under the age of 70, so that shouldn't be a problem for him to want to prosecute.
No,
Well,
it's under the age of 60.
Under the age of 60.
I'm-
So you can't prosecute me.
Well, you get a free pass like everybody else above that age.
I'm non-prosecutable because I am 69 years old.
You are, but the rest of us are not.
Well, Michelle's barely 60, aren't you? So there's two of us that aren't prosecutable then. All right,
Let's close this meeting before we're all unprosecutable.
we're heading that direction. All right, were we done with that subject? That last one, let's go to the next one. Employee handbook. 952.
So we're done.
Are you done?
I have a few quick items to bring up, very quick.
And I have two very quick ones as well.
Are we talking about this handbook or are we skipping straight to concern?
About handbook or something else?
I have three things after we discuss. To do.
All right.
So you discuss the handbook table.
If we've tabled it for 6 months, what's another month or another week, 2 weeks, meeting, whatever?
What do you have that you wanted to discuss about the handbook? Is that the two things that
paid
you wanted to
time
talk about?
off.
No, that's not on my mayor's
okay.
concerns. No.
Oh, yeah.
It's the pay time off policy.
And the call,
We find out every single.
Which I
On call.
and I have not gotten a chance to look into that.
We are nowhere near even close to hammering out the on-call.
I think, I really
I
think
do
you
have
guys would be better
information
off
on
if we
that.
were to have a special meeting and do it like on a Tuesday night somewhere along the line that doesn't interfere with school.
That sounds fun.
Well, it sounds better than spending
Yeah.
till midnight here on a Monday night.
Better than being here on your birthday too, I know that.
Whose birthday is it?
It was his last time.
meeting.
Okay. My grandson's birthday is today.
So is it the appropriate thing to table until the next meeting then? Or
Second.
I'm kind of suggesting that, Jason. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was picking up too. So I would move.
I
Tim's
vote
already
yes.
seconded.
We second it.
We are out of order.
And I don't want to just scratch it because we'll forget about it. So we keep throwing it on the agenda so it stays fresh.
But
Could just
we'll
be
put it
this-
on the first of the
Could just be
agenda.
this 10 o'clock meeting that's being
There you
kind of
go.
demotivating.
move it up in the agenda, like near the top of the other.
That sounds
Maybe under
painful, too.
continuing business would be the first thing we talk about.
Yes.
Then we table everybody else's stuff. Okay, Tim, what's your council concerns?
Okay, the one thing Brett already touched on before, it's always been a standing order in this room that if people have not spoken to the city clerk by Friday at noon, they are not on the agenda the following Monday. I don't care if your building has to be sold this weekend or whatever the case is. If you're not in there by Friday at noon, you're not on the agenda. That's the way it's always been. I believe that's the way we should remain. Thoughts?
I agree.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's
Our,
fine.
our
I
meetings
think
get stacked
this
up already pretty well.
Change
So
was approved by the mayor this time around.
This time, but the
Yes.
previous meeting, we
Have
did
we
the very
done
same
later
thing.
ones? I don't remember.
So anyway, I'm not gonna go digging up all those bones, but
Okay.
I would like to return to that.
I don't have a problem with that either unless somebody has an executive session they want to throw in on us.
That's different.
Okay.
I'm talking about when
checking.
I'm talking about when somebody walks in the door and they want to address the city
Sure.
about something.
Okay.
And they wait till the very last second to hurry up and throw it on because whatever emergency they have.
Okay. All right. What else you got?
Can you ask the guys to cut down the tall weeds that are growing up out of the sidewalk that are about 4 or 5 feet tall, straight across from the law office where the liquor store used to be? Right across the street that way from the law office.
I almost
Where the
sprayed
buildings.
those-
You mean
Yeah,
south?
Where the buildings are falling
Yes.
apart.
Buttercrust.
Under the Buttercrust sign. There you
I
go.
mean, it's their property. Should we tell the owners to do it?
On the other side of that was, I would agree it would be the owner.
Sidewalk. I guess
That would
it's
be-
weeds growing through sidewalk easily.
That would be a-
Maintaining that.
That would be a Clayton.
If
Clayton.
it's the sidewalk, never mind.
What's Clayton's last name? Cameron. Look on the paper. We'll let Clayton address that with the property owner.
And I already brought up the school.
Get that, Clayton. Thank you. Okay. And I did notice the one on the other side of that building, that property, at least the first 20 feet appears to be cut down. You guys notice that?
Yes, I did.
And I know why they're not doing the rest of it because of all the rocks and stuff that got dropped down when whatever
There's broken glass.
issue up in there.
I like those weeds.
Okay, what's your other one?
That's it. Go ahead.
That's it. Anybody besides me have anything?
I got a couple like quick things.
Sure.
I actually had
Wait a second, please. Somebody's talking.
I had a patron of the lake come and ask if we don't allow night fishing anymore in boats on the lake because he has for years fished at night on the lake. But
He must not be a resident
he's not a resident. He lives, I think, in McFarland,
and has a boat permit.
but he has a boat permit. He fishes here all the time. He fishes during the day.
That's an issue that we
Where
have.
else does he fish?
I don't know where else he fishes.
He fishes here because he need an inspection to go from one to the other.
Right, and that was the other question he had. Is Lake Wabunsee infested with zebra mussels like
Oh, yeah.
everything else?
Yep.
So do we still need to do the inspections for zebra mussels and pay the fee for zebra mussels if we are not actually preventing a zebra mussel infestation?
When I called Kansas Wildlife and I did this presentation before you were on the council, there's other aquatic nuisances that we need to be watching for, grasses and other sorts of things. They suggested that it would be in the best interest for us to continue charging those and be looking for
Other nuisances.
Yeah,
I thought we agreed to eliminate the inspection fee.
we did
Okay,
eliminate the
that's-
inspection fee
okay.
and raised the price to what the inspection fee called. And we just did it because it eased them from thinking
Right.
that they were getting screwed, but they're paying the same amount of money.
I understand.
We'll put that in your report, Jerry.
Yeah, wasn't there like
Yeah.
corrections that needed to be made to Jerry's minutes from the last meeting about something?
Oh,
We don't control Jerry's
I don't think we
minutes.
can tell Jerry what to publish.
Or maybe he needed to be told that it was.
You can
it was
clarify
not. And I can't
something
remember
that
what
you
it
had
was.
an
Does anybody
issue with.
remember what it was? I tried to email.
but did it have to do with his opinion that the council don't care?
I never said that.
Well, that's what the email says. In my opinion, the council doesn't care. I can show it to you, Jerry. I don't
Well,
throw these things
maybe-
away.
We're talking about night
Must've been
fishing.
fired up,
I
Jerry.
got that impression.
Right.
However, to address the nighttime fishing, Brett has brought it up a few times. I am also a very big fan of if we can ever get any money to go back towards the lake, then we put in a new gate that gives people a code.
I'm working on a bid,
Well, I've been talking
Where are
about
you
that
gonna
for
get the
2
money?
years.
a new meeting.
Tax money or what?
We're gonna have to raise something at the lake to get money. If there's no money there, the only thing's left to raise. It keeps costing us.
Yeah,
We
why
have
don't you
to
guys,
raise it
What
when
else
it's
you got?
costing.
why don't you guys just make everything at the lake?
Is
What
night
the-
fishing allowed or not? We didn't even answer that question. I didn't hear it.
Obviously,
Yes.
we can't get a vote on
Night fishing is allowed, but we have no way to inspect the boat, so we can't let a boat out on the water after night and after the gates are closed.
As we
So
close
we
the
don't
gate.
disallow night
They come
fishing.
before.
Disallow getting on the lake at
it.
night.
That's what's not.
So if he
possible.
shows
You
up
can fish
before,
if you
If
want.
they come before 5 o'clock and I can inspect the boat,
I know he's not gonna make that during the week.
Then they're not
It
going to
was
get their
9
boat
o'clock.
off the lake until Julie's open. That's the
Well,
only catch.
Yeah, summertime hours are
I
later.
have let people just go ahead and walk the gate when they leave.
Enough of that. Enough of that.
Okay.
So you want me just to lock them
No.
out there?
I want you to not talk right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you have more stuff?
Well, there is a quiet time between 11 and 7, so
That's-
I always thought that meant no boats because it's quiet time.
Well, I mean,
It's stated,
No,
right?
that's
Isn't
you
it?
can creep around the lake on a trolling motor though and make almost no noise.
That's
So
the people.
there's, I mean,
Just don't.
most of the guys
justify
that are, yeah, most of the guys that are
But
fishing
is
are not.
there is there quiet hours? Tim?
It's like
At the
midnight.
campsite.
It's the lake. It specifically says campsite only, quiet time, because when you're
Looks like we need to
primitive-
find that out. Let's
when you're
get some
primitive
stuff finished here.
camping,
So-
you have to sit next to a generator. So is that quiet?
Speaking of
Negative.
raising money at the lake, I have
No,
2
I'm
questions.
opposed.
There is the stone platforms that we had questions about on 67 Lakeview.
Yeah.
He was asking about those are 3 foot by 5 foot ish chunks of concrete that, by all appearances, were there as infrastructure when the lake was first built. They were basically mounts for water pumps out of the lake because there was no infrastructure at the lake.
I was gonna say, somebody said they were
Water
using.
pumps for who?
For the residents
So the residents wanted the water pumps for water out at the lake.
In 1933.
in 1933. Yeah,
And we already said, it doesn't matter. You said,
I
it
get
doesn't
that.
matter from 1922 to now. If it's on ours, you pay for it. Side of
It's
the
not even the
patio,
water.
No.
they will be having chairs on it, using it as such.
And
And
that's-
if you think that's wrong, you're delusional.
And that's all you could use it for is to set a chair on it. And I've looked around. I would rather set a chair on the stone next to it and have more room. I'd use it for a cup holder, if anything. No, I don't think we should be charging people for chunks of concrete that are 3 foot by 5 foot. That
Agreed. I'm sure
Serve
they'd
no
rather have it
purpose.
be gone.
Was
Yeah.
it 4 foot
And
the
also-
sidewalk width?
But who's gonna remove it and whose cost is it?
I'm not saying anybody's gonna remove it.
Well, eventually it's gonna deteriorate and it's gonna become a problem going into the lake.
and then
We
It
got it when
will
it's all
be
there.
a person's problem. Whose problem is it?
Whose property is it on?
It's not ours. Why would you want it to be our
It's
problem?
on the city's
Hey, come on now. This,
It's on the city's property. I'd say, yeah, it's ours to remove. At the end of the day.
And as a matter of fact, I did speak to landowner Drew while I was there, and he said he would remove it if he had a jackhammer and could figure out how to wheelbarrow it up the hill and get rid of the rock.
And then
this is not 76. This
No,
is a
it's
different
67.
address.
It's the guy who talked during the 5 minutes last meeting,
Switsky.
Drew Swisky.
Yeah, I went out there today and looked at that too.
Yeah.
Look, did you see the drain in it?
Yeah, on the one. Did you
Yeah.
see there's 2
Yeah.
of them real close
Yeah.
to each other? Yeah.
The one with the drain made me think it was a bathhouse, maybe a shower at some
And
point.
some of the neighbors thought that potentially it was an outdoor shower at one point.
And it was right away since it's 100 years old.
for
Yeah.
the resident that lived at the lake.
Yeah, potentially, or workers that were working at the lake. There is no knowledge of who that would have been for. When that was put in, there may not even have been residents at the lake yet.
So your advice is to not put it on them, but to take it on our shoulders.
And maintain it, not at all. Let it deteriorate. When it
And
finally
fall
breaks up
into the
into
lake.
pieces, it's rock debris at this point.
Personally, it's been there going on 90 years and it looks very solid today as it probably did the day it was put in there. I don't think it's going anywhere in our lifetime.
I think so.
Let the future council worry about
I
it.
think the point is that he charged for it.
Yes, yes.
And I don't
so.
think we should.
I'll tell them about your decision.
Okay. You're gonna be around.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah,
a
no.
functional, usable patio.
Then we need to block it off so that they're not using it for any purpose.
Put a landmark on it.
They will be using it for
Yes,
their own
they
personal
will.
purpose.
Yes, they
Now,
will.
if I need to go take pictures once they're doing it to bring back here to make my point that you are wrong, I will do so. But you are being very lenient in the situation here, thinking that they are not going to use it to your advantage.
It's a 3 foot chunk of concrete. I don't care if they use it to their advantage. It's not worth any money to anybody. If we want to block, find a pump, a replica pump that would have sat there 100 years ago and put one there. Bolt it down and be like, this is what
Call
these guys
it a
have.
museum.
And call it a museum.
Yeah.
Put a plaque on the corner.
Put a plaque on the corner. This is what would have been here 100 years ago when the lake
When
was being
people
built.
walk around.
Yes.
I don't think they had those there when the lake was being built.
No, it wasn't long after.
I will
Anyway,
ask.
Anyway.
What else you got?
What else?
I had questions about there's the skeleton of a building and the foundation concrete.
Stonehenge.
Yeah, Stonehenge and the flat platform near it over by Wild Olives. Who owns those?
We do.
The city.
So we talked about generating more money out there. Is there a way we could expand our campground because the Stonehenge might make a great spot for hammock camping.
We can't even maintain the campground that we have now. How are you gonna add more to maintain? That don't make sense.
I was just out there and our campground looks fabulous.
It wasn't mowed the weekend before Labor Day weekend, which means every camper had to go out there, pay money to camp in knee-high grass because it wasn't freaking mowed. I mean, you obviously missed that.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
It wasn't knee high, but it was absolutely way taller. Than
Right
it
now,
was
over the holiday
embarrassing.
weekend, there was bombardment of like almost collisions of people pulling in
So
and
we should
pulling
just
out
close
because
the
of water
campgrounds
main.
because we can't afford to maintain them. We'll just lose the funds.
No, but I do agree that we shouldn't expand unless we have.
We have a cool old structure that is absolutely
And-
useless and would work great for hammock camping. And we could set up primitive camps around that. And all you need is a
People
stake
have
in the
used
ground.
it for dances, outdoor
Yeah.
dances.
They used to use it for dances and
No, you're talking about the slab.
And that's
You're talking
not,
about the
and that's
concrete
being leased
structure. The
by.
slab is different, and the
Bought
slab
ours.
is in Julie's contract for the lodge. So that is Julie's slab of
The slab.
concrete.
Okay.
She pays us.
Don't
For
get
the,
it.
for the fat slab.
And she
Yeah.
No,
also
I
gets the
wasn't
power.
thinking of that. but-
She also has the power that goes to the slab. We don't have power that goes out to the Stonehenge thing.
It's an idea. Just
Yeah.
because it's not in our budget now doesn't mean it's
yeah,
a
and
bad
they used to
idea.
have crawfish boils.
But
and
how much
all kinds of
development do
stuff.
you want? Do you want it developed all the way around the lake? Because it's almost getting to that point.
Well, and I don't think we need to, but we could put 6 or 10 primitive camps around that Stonehenge, and we used a dilapidated structure for something useful. Because right now it's just a rotting
look like
chunk of
crap.
concrete. It's nothing, or it's generating funds. Those are our
I
options.
do think that there's possibility there. But
Thoughts to keep in mind.
Yeah.
yes.
Anybody else have anything besides me?
Nature out there.
Anybody else besides me have anything?
It's already a concrete slab that's there already.
Anybody else?
No, I'm good.
Okay, 3 things right quick. Everybody's already seen it, but I just want to double check. You got a memo from Lisa about the budget authority. If you haven't looked it over and read it, please do.
I was gonna read that out loud.
The next thing is, does everybody have a copy of this bid in your packet? It's for,
Oh, I believe I
Yeah.
put it in the cubbies.
okay, tree and stump removal at the lake, Wabantu Lake Grove. Not that that matters, but I have a copy. It says to remove all marked trees and stumps. Those are the ones that I went out this past late April, early May, put X's on and asked Mike to get them cut down. They're still standing, by the way. To remove all dead and down trees along the roadway and mow areas and remove hangers. The total bid to do all of that from this guy is $5,550. Way out of our league as far as I'm concerned. When we've got the employees who just bought a chainsaw for this particular purpose, they need to use it.
I do think they are gonna do it. I think they're waiting until the camping season ends.
Why?
I don't know.
It's
I
dangerous right now. People
Why is
could
it-
camp under an acre and fall there.
Never mind. I didn't open my mouth. Let's go.
I will say, Annie, they were waiting till the end of the year to replace that faucet in the bait shop, and they didn't replace that faucet till the bait shop was already open for this season again.
Okay.
So they
People
say that
do
all
forget
the time.
things, but
No,
yes.
it's not forgetting.
But it is a winter maintenance kind of activity where when you're not mowing anymore,
It's-
you have more time to do those.
It's hard to forget things.
I move to adjourn.
I
I
second.
am not done.
Oh, sorry.
I said I had 3 things.
Oh, yes.
I can't count anymore. My brain kind of.
The last thing I want to mention is the damage at the caretaker's house from the storm we had on August 14th. Has everybody been out there and seen it?
I saw the damage at the shed.
At the
Was there
shed.
damage on the house?
No,
Okay.
no, the
Yeah, I
house,
saw
the
the
house.
house on the shed.
But if I'd said that, then somebody probably wouldn't have known where I was talking about.
I didn't
John,
realize it.
I talked to John Taylor and he is willing to help get that thing fixed and put up with the help of our city crew. Are you guys in favor of that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, and the last thing on that is that building's not insured. Neither were the contents underneath it. The contents underneath it don't appear to be damaged, but we need to look at that insurance once this thing is replaced. And for the life of me, I don't understand why we didn't have insurance out there.
It probably is uninsurable from the shed. I would think. I know. I
It's
think
an
we talked
outbuilding.
about it.
It's an outbuilding. It should be insured.
So are they gonna put it back to the size that it was?
I have no idea.
What do
He
we
just
utilize
asked
all those
if
days for?
he just asked if I had a problem with them helping the city guys get it cleaned up and rebuilt. No, I don't have a problem with it, but you guys need to be aware of it. If you guys got a problem with it, we'll stop it.
New tins.
What's the last thing?
That's it. That was it. Okay, that was it.
Move to adjourn.
Didn't you have 3 things?
That was 3 things.
Okay,
I'm losing my mind.
I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn by Tim, second by Michelle. Those in favor? We're adjourned. 10:10.
No, stand up, no, Brett.
Kelly,
You need it.
I need to ask a favor.
No favors.
Yeah. Let me go first.
I've been on that agreement with all the other clerks and I've apparently forgot to ask you.
Okay. I will always be sending this stuff on Friday.
I do look
But I
forward
will,
to
if I send other stuff, I will send
any
it.
of the in-between stuff, especially if it's something important. I don't think every.
Okay.
Sometimes it's, I know that it's not.
Are you a bad email checker?
I don't know, horrible.
Tim, August 26th meetings.
I read that.
So we did talk about it in open session.
And I think he wants the details out. But don't
That's fine. I was just gonna turn out the light.
Comment.
worry. Somewhere.